I immediately pressed wrong buttons when I went live. I don't know why, but my instinct was like, now press Control C, I think. I honestly don't know what my body was like. Yes, let's do this. Okay. I think I have everything set up. Okay. 1 minute is more than enough to... I needed to do something. I don't remember what. I wanted to start earlier, but then I got confused by Doge, or however you did the doggo that has replaced the Twitter logo, apparently. Dutch. It sounds like I'm just saying Dutch. I cannot speak. I should stop trying to pronounce names that I know I will fail at. Huh. I'm just scrolling through Twitter to like look at whatever. Wait, to figure out why it's also trending. Okay, because everyone is asking what's going on. Great. Okay, let's go back. And oh, how long has it been on stream? Yes, I'm perfectly... I'm great. Okay, continue. Yes. Okay, now I'm at the moment I'm familiar and I don't have to think again. So we're just gonna complete dinner and road trip. I don't have any of the DLCs, and honestly, I really like this game and I wouldn't mind replaying it, so I will probably take like a break in between, buy all the DLCs, and just in like a few months play it again. Okay. Sunlight shone through the windows as she sat in your living room. Your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It had been shaping up to be an ordinary day, like any other, until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous, greeting you. Oh god, what has he done? You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilled. So I was just wondering, do you want to come over to my house for dinner tonight? We've never been in his house before. At least not like in game, right? Like, a mention has been made of us visiting his house. But I don't think we have actually seen his house, like, in the game. Yeah, we saw, like, the outside of it, but not, like, the inside. The question came out strangely, almost like he'd rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You didn't expect this to be the reason behind the call. I kept listening, just silently wait. Just like the awkward pause that just lasts on way too long. I can't. Of course, I mean, I'm just assuming we have nothing better to do. So, yeah, sure.
That's,
It was oh. You weren't expecting a yes, were you? It seemed that Cove still had more to say, and you just interrupted him. Oops. Oh, wait, just kept listening. Cove continued. His next words sounded rehearsed too, and it tinged with nervousness. I'm just gonna listen to what he had to say and then I will go back. I'm just curious. My mom and dad, they really want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with that, they ask me to ask you. Yeah, okay, this is boring. The other option is way funnier.
That's,
Cool. Well, he stumbled for a bit, trying to gather his thoughts again. He rehearsed this whole... Oh no, I hate that too. Like, you rehearse this whole, like, response kind of thing. And then you actually call someone, it's like, oh you are entirely going off the script that I imagined in my own head. How dare you? How dare you have your own thoughts and feelings? My mom and dad, they really want you... Oh yeah, okay. They want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. So he's still going to say it. He's like, oh no. They said yes already. What do I do now? It's just the same thing, okay. It took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quiet and uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove's instead. Cove spoke up again, breaking your thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. I mean, yeah, you're my friend. I mean, your parents are nice and everything, but I would hope you would want me to be there too. Otherwise, it's really awkward. Can you come over, I mean? Yeah, I can come. I'll have to ask my moms and get back to you. No, I can't make it. Why am I the only one invited? Or did you mean the... Did you mean the whole family? It's quite obvious that it was only meant for me. Or, but like, true, but like... Oh, let's go ask the moms first before they have like this entire dinner plan and we're like, oh, we're going to friends, goodbye. Okay, tell me when you can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for a dinner today? That's serious? He spoke to you for a little while longer to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up. And that was that. For now, anyway. You got Ma right afterwards, and she picked up on the third ring. It wasn't a long conversation. When you asked to go to the Holden's house for dinner, she was more than happy to give permission for it. No problems there. Ma wasn't one to complain about you spending time with Cove. Cove got a quick call from you afterwards, so he knew for sure that you would attend the dinner. Then you said your goodbyes and went on with your afternoon. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and the evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. After letting Elizabeth know you were leaving, she didn't look away from the TV, just grunted. You made the small journey across the street and got hit by a car. No, okay. You knocked a couple times on the heavy door to their condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both Cove's parents were there. It was exciting. What does the second one mean? Hold up. Apprehensive, anxious, or fearful that something bad or unpleasant will happen. Okay, the rest I know, so I can just ignore the rest. Yeah. Okay. Not important. I legit got distracted by an ad. No, not an ad, because I have ad blocks, but some news thing on Google that distracted me. The idea made you curious, you didn't think it would be especially interested. You couldn't say you were thrilled. We're visiting a friend for dinner, that's always nice. It was exciting. You had thought today was going to be boring, but it turned out to be much more interesting. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts, though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kiara, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you.
Come on.
Hey, True. Welcome. Please come in. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Okay, I'm gonna inspect the room because it looks so nice. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Didn't you guys ask in the afternoon? I have had way worse timed invites to hang out with friends in the evening. Oh yeah, no. We will let you know 10 seconds. No, okay, 10 seconds is a bit overkill, but sometimes I just don't get any notice of when to come over, and it's just oh yeah, no, we're doing this thing, come over now. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course, just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey True, welcome to our humble abode. You jerked your head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen, with his back turned and a large spoon in his hand. Hope you're hungry, because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. Maybe I should change the character's name next stage of life, because true to his word, I was slightly confused. We're gonna give them another name, because this is confusing me. You heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smelled spicy and savory. You can smell that? Spice, I get, but savory? With Mr. Holden's busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kiara. She gave you a wry smell. Right, yeah, bleh. He sure is. Well, I've been bored from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? Are you bad at the kitchen? Or, is it just a guest can't cook kind of thing? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden coughed good-naturedly, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kiara. You need to accept that already. Okay, so it's the guest thing. She yelled back, amusement obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's gotta eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. Kiara smiled and shook her head quietly as she turned to face you once more.
Well.
Sorry about that, True. Here I was trying to strike up a conversation with you and Cliff just had to butt in. I don't butt in! She eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disproving her point with that. Carol leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay. He likes to be included. But since Clifford insists on cooking all by himself, he will have to wait. The two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to be safe. So? How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm good. Things are okay. I'm not really sure. You didn't reply to her question. I feel like going... Okay. I'm going to overanalyze this. Because I'm doing good sounds like I'm... I don't know. I don't really like the word good. Because I don't know. When someone says I'm doing good or something like that, I kind of assume that they're not doing well. Because it's the standard response. And, well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Sounds... Well, it sounds strange. Just saying, like, I'm not really sure how I'm doing. That sounds... Oh, that sounds even more like something bad happened. Not replying is a... But just... I don't like these options. I don't like this option. This would be, like, worse than all of the above. I'm not getting a lot of good options here. To her credit, Kiara wasn't two-faced by your last look to response. Let's see if we can turn that okay to great by tonight, huh? She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footstep caught your attention. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. Yet he might have heard all of the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. Like he didn't... Didn't he, like, tell me the time to be here? If I tell my friends, or if I expect my friends, you can assume I'm downstairs at least 15 minutes before they are supposed to be there. Because either they're gonna be early, most of them are late, I'm not gonna lie. But also, I wanna be the one to greet them. He quickly took stock of the situation. True, you made it. Thanks for coming. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were. Only a few feet away. Hi, Cove. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. You didn't sound convincing at all. You narrowed your eyes suspiciously, but didn't call him out on it. If you could talk to him alone tonight, maybe you'd ask him what's going on then. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents watching the two of you interact. Cove noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. Oh wow.
So...
Are we having dinner now? Not yet, but I'm still cooking. Alright. I'm gonna go back to my room. As you turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you. You coming? No, I like making small talk conversations with your parents. I will just suffer right where I am. The question was quiet, but you heard it clearly. You smiled, pleased that he asked, and nodded in affirmation. Affirmativation. Weet ik veel. I switched to Dutch, oh no. I do that a lot when I'm confused or tired. Or both. Cove turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. We'll call you when food's ready to go. With that, you followed after Cove. The two of you made your way down the hall. This was the first time you were invited to see Cove's room. I had visited Cove's room before, but only rarely. Going over to Cove's room was a standard occurrence nowadays. That makes it sound like I'm just coming over and doing things, hanging out in his room. I don't know. What do teenagers do again? I mean, I'm not that old yet, but I wasn't the best example of a teenager. Okay, let's go with we barely visit, or rarely. Cove got to the door first, opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. There was a mat on the floor in front of the door. As you stepped over the threshold into his room, you felt a crunch of sand beneath your feet. Sand? Why? Why do you have sand in your room? The sensation was nothing new to you, of course. Cove constantly came back to his room, covered in sand, not bothering to clean himself off at the front door and got it all over his personal space. I'm never visiting your room again! Noted. That's just how he was, a little bit of a mess. There's a difference between a mess and sand all over the floor. And personal belongings just everywhere in his room? Why? I would never be able to eat or drink anything in this room with like the fear that like the scent would like get in between my teeth and okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Okay, you hadn't heard Mr. Holden ever scold him for it. Not like your moms would have if you've done it. You can sit wherever you want. Can I choose? Cove himself took a seat at the edge of his large bed, looking like the picture of comfort, and left you to decide. I can decide. You didn't sit anywhere. I was just T-posing, standing over him. No, okay. You sat down on the chair, you sat down next to Cove on his bed. I mean, sitting down on the bed next to him would, like, be the logical... would it be? Okay. What would... I don't know. I think sitting down on the bed is like... This is just me trying to figure out how to be a normal person. How to do social interactions 101. Overthink everything. If you think it's an easy decision, no it is not. Not sitting anywhere is gonna be weird. Because you legit said like, oh yeah, go sit down anywhere, wherever. So we're not gonna do that one. Sitting in the chair is fine. But we're close friends, so sitting on the bed should also be fine, right? Let's just go sit on the bed. I'm overthinking this way too much. Cove smiled when you made yourself at home beside him. You grinned back. With the silence growing, your gaze began to drift. You stared at the bright fish swimming in the tank. There were a bunch of them, floating to and fro from in the open space. Okay. They stood out sparkly against the green aquarium plants. How long have you had those fish? How long have you been in this room for? Like, how many times? 'Cause if he's gonna say a long time, and I just answered like, oh yeah, no, I've been here a few times, then it's gonna be awkward.
I guess.
Okay. My dad brought them for me not very long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. Okay, then my question was awkward, but I didn't have a choice. So I'm not gonna blame myself. Oh, that's a long time. You peered carefully into the tank. The fish looked to be doing well. You must take good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? Do people really name all their fish? Like, we have an aquarium downstairs with like fish in it, but we have like a lot of those tiny fish. And I remember me and my cousin getting not really bored, but we decided to like try and name the fish. First off, we had to think of a lot of names, and we were both not really good at that. But also, it was really hard to keep track on which one we had named and which one we had not named. So at one point, there was like a fish group of like 6 or 7 fish. And we just named one with like a name. I don't remember the name, to be honest. And the other 6 just got numbers, and we just swapped the names around. I don't name them. Well, not really. You lifted an eyebrow at that. He continued the explanation sheepishly.
I mean...
Mostly I just call them things based on what they look like. Squirt for a small one. Tangerine for a really orange one. That sort of thing. I've had a lot of fish, and I'm not that good at coming up with names. You found that funny. You found that surprising. You found that relatable. Okay, it's not that surprising. It seems pretty obvious. It's not relatable because we did not come up with names like that, so we're just gonna go with funny. Who knew that was a weakness of his? It was an entertaining revelation. Oh, a couple of them have other types of names. He pointed to a small orangish red fish. It was minding its own business, away from the others. My dad named her Dreamcatcher, and the other one's Mark. Mom came up with that one. Look. Those type of namings are relatable. Oh yeah, we just have a bunch of like random ones with how they look like. And then you have Mark. Ah, Mark. Well, Dreamcatcher is a pretty cool name. I know my name I know what I'm gonna name True next step. I'm just gonna call them Dreamcatcher. No, I'm not. That's a joke. Cove smiled to himself, his eyes reflecting the glow of the tank. You let other people name your fish?
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Can I name one? He turned to you, tilting his head to the side. There was a considering look on his face. Do you want to name one? Yes. Yes. Yeah, I do. His smile grew a little at your enthusiasm. Cool. There's a few who don't have a name right now. The newer ones, you can pick which you want to name. He pointed to each resident equations out to you. The first was the smallest fish in the tank. It was completely orange and zipped all over the place, running laps around the others. Okay. The second was slightly bigger and red. Its tail was dotted with black spots, which almost resembled freckles. The last fish was the biggest one. Its multicolored scales rippled under the bright light of the tank as it slowly made its way across the vast expanse. You went with, Okay. I kind of want to name both the smallest and the biggest one. Let's go with the smallest one. Cove only nodded at your answer, waiting for you to decide a suitable name. You watched the fish you choose closely. As you did, a name eventually came to you. Frank! Typing your own answer. I can name the fish. Sunbeam. Gil, True, Cove. Typing your own answer. Okay, what's the most random fit name I can see around me right now? I honestly don't know. I do want to type my own. Bubble! Okay, a good name for a fish. Captain. Captain Surfboard. No! It's too many letters! Wait, what's like the short version of Captain? Version of Captain. There's like a Okay. Google is telling me that... Yeah, okay. It seems that this is indeed... This is like the short version of Captain. Oh, okay. I was pressing the skip knop, the skip button. Apparently. Then, okay. Yeah, okay, I typed it correctly. Great. Still too long. Okay, not surfboard. What else can we name the fish? I'm... Cyan. Captain Cyan. Captain Cyan, yes. Captain Cyan. With that, his attention moved from you to the tank. He peered fondly. I like that I just gave it a completely different name as color. Like, oh yes, no. He's like, what was the fish? Reddish or orangey red or something like that. And I just meant that fish. That fish is named Cyan. Wait. Yeah, it's completely orange. He peered fondly at it and its inhabitants. He smiled proudly at Captain Cyan as it swam through the tendrils of the plants, disappearing then reappearing soon after. You know, I'm not allowed to have pets in my house, not even a fish. Corners of Cove's lip turned down at that. That doesn't sound fair. It's not like fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of their tank and feed them and they will be okay. Right? My moms can be strict over the weirdest things sometimes. I don't mind it too much. I don't get it. I do mind it. I want pets. We have like a fish, a cat, a dog, and multiple free birds that technically aren't pets, but I'm counting them because they visit my backyard a lot. They trust Elizabeth and me to go around the neighborhood alone, but they won't let us have a pet. It doesn't make sense. Maybe when you're older, they will let you. I'm just gonna buy my own one when I'm older. I don't know, they seem pretty against it. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warning, earning you a brief confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth, came back from playing at the beach and just shut herself in her room. She only came down for food and then she ran back upstairs straight after. It was kinda weird. My mom didn't think much of it at first though. But then, that night, Ma went to her room to say goodnight and started screaming. What did she bring back? Mom and I ran over to see what happened. Lizzie had this huge lizard in her arms. Cove eyebrows rose at that and he leaned forward in interest like, where did this child get an entire lizard?
Really?
A lizard? Where did that come from? Elizabeth said she saw it half buried in the sand and didn't know what it was. Then she pulled it out and got the answer. She brought it home. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Ma were not happy. They worried about putting it out during night, but she was going to have to let it go in the morning. Why would it be bad to put it out in the night? I would be more worried for a lizard, an unknown lizard, which may be diseases, to be in the room of my child. Not like, oh no, it's a bad idea to put it outside at night. Maybe because of like there's no sunlight and like cold-blooded, but I don't know. They survive on their own also in the night, so I don't think that's a good answer. Lizzie was really upset. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. You'll laugh thinking back to the time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she forgot grudges quickly. Now it wasn't so easy. Cove had been quiet for most of the story, apart from the reveal of the lizard. He had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't even imagine what it would like to have a sibling. You gave a serious thought to his statement before you told him, it's fun. There are ups and downs. You're lucky to be only child. It's nice idea in general, but my sister's Elizabeth. I feel like that's like every sibling, like, oh no, the idea of a sibling sounds nice, but it's not in practice. I don't know what to explain, I don't know how to explain what it's like. There are the ups and downs. It can be nice, it can be terrible. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Cove pursed his lips at words, considering them quietly for a while.
Cool.
That's interesting. I think your family is cool. You didn't have much else to say, though. While on the topic of your family, you considered your relationship with your moms too. They were the absolute best. You got along with your moms. You thought your moms were okay. You found your moms to be difficult to deal with. My dude, your parents are great. What are you talking about? I wouldn't say they're the best. Especially since like the whole adoption reveal last time. Where I'm like, I would have told them earlier, but we get along with the moms. You had disagreements with them, but at the end of the day, you loved them and they loved you. That's all that really mattered. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your moms never tried to pay someone to be your friend. We're not going back to this, are we? Oh my god. The thought prompted you to look over at Cove. He probably still didn't know what happened. That happened. You doubted that Mr. Holden mentioned it, and you never had. You wondered if you should tell him. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. I didn't tell him. It was a bad time. You didn't tell him. You weren't sure how he'd react. You didn't tell him secrets were meant to be kept. You didn't tell him you didn't want to have that talk with Cove. Okay. I feel like using my time traveling powers again with I'm deciding to tell him. But if I don't like the response at all, I might backpedal and like use this one. But this, come on, this has been a secret for like 7 years at this point or something like that. It has been years. What do you mean we haven't told him? Take a deep studying breath to prepare yourself for the conversation. Now you just had to figure out how to tell him. Cove, I have something important to tell you. Hey, you want to know something crazy? Please don't be mad about this, but we're going with the second one. You know, when someone says, hey, you want to know something crazy? They're either gonna say like the like weirdest thing, or just like it's gonna break your mind either way, actually. Cove raised an inquisitive eyebrow at your casual tone. He turned to give you his full attention. Maybe? Like what? You stared into his bright ocean eyes. I'm gonna tell. Why is it giving me okay, first it gave me like 3 options of saying no, or like 4, I don't even remember. Then it did give me like 3 options on how to say it. But now it's again giving me like the never mind, I'm chickening out. Like, I get the feeling the game doesn't want me to tell him. It's like seeing all the red flags and still continuing. Basically, back when you moved here, the first time I met your dad, he offered me money to be friends with you. $20. It was pretty ridiculous. You laughed lightly at the memory of it, though it trailed off oddly when you realized Cove wasn't laughing with you. Cove sat still, uncharacteristically. There was an unreadable expression on his face. His eyes seemed to look through you, and you didn't know what to do next. Then, without saying a word, "Oh no, I've started a fight! Oh no! Oh no! I'm not good at this." I'm like, oh yeah, you should never keep secrets from your friends. And I think I just created family problems. So fun. Then without saying a word, Cove stood up from his bed in a single motion and just pulled it right out of the room. For a moment, you didn't move a muscle. You were in shock. This was... oh no. Your senses quickly came back. You shot out in the hallway after him. Cove! There was no response to your call. You could see Cove down the way. He had already sprinted back to the living room. His arms were stuck at his side with hands tightly balled into fists. He might not have been facing you, but you didn't need to see his face to know how he felt. Cove was furious. That doesn't look like an angry face to me. Not gonna lie, that looks like a no, not disturbed. Shocked. I don't know the word, but it doesn't look like angry. His parents were nearly finished setting the table. They greeted him, none the wiser what was about to happen.
Huh?
Hey, what's up? When did you start running in the house? Are you that famished? You were able to catch up in full stand near Cove. The parents' words didn't even register in his ears. Their child was wholly focused on another matter. He was practically shaking. Cove took one more step forward and glared up at his father's face. You paid true to be friends with me? Oh, no. He tried to give me money. I didn't accept it. Mr. Holden froze. He looked like a helpless deer caught in headlights. To be honest, that's your fault. You should have told your son.
Seriously?
Clifford, are you serious? He whipped his head to Kiara, his eyes wide and blinking rapidly. It was only one. How does it make it? Hold up. How does that make it better? It was only one time. That still sounds like one time too many to me, but okay. That mission elicited an aghast expression from his ex-wife. Mr. Holden raised his hands up to gesture defensively. It seemed like a good idea when it happened. In what world would it ever be a good time? Like, huh? You should never pay someone to... Oh yeah, like imagine being friends with someone. And after getting to know the person and loving them, you find out that they got paid to be your friend. My world would have shattered, probably like Cose's now. She covered her eyes with one hand. It was clear that her patience was frayed, but she was not too shocked anymore. Mr. Holden bowed his head, rubbing the back of his neck guiltily. The fact that she accepted this as something he'd do so easily seemed to be the most crushing part. Gove just stood there, filming silently during their little aside. His eyebrows furrowed painfully and his eyes trembled. You felt bad for Cove. You felt bad for... We're not feeling bad for either of the parents. And also not ourselves. Also not the... You thought it was uncomfortable. Yes, I do think it's uncomfortable, but I feel worse for Cove. He was taking it worse than you thought you had ever imagined. Like, yeah, you laughed, and he got really angry, which honestly, kind of understandable. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, but must have been only minutes, the tense silence was broken by Cove. I don't want to stay here. Immediately caught his parents' attention. They turned to him with twin expressions of worry. Hey, wait a minute, bud. You don't have to do that.
It's all right.
There's still your room. We will stay out of your way, I promise. Where could you go at this time of the day? It's almost night.
No.
I can stay with True. I mean, yeah, it's true, but dude, let's just have dinner with your parents, please. He stormed out of the house without waiting for another response. He jumped as the door slammed close behind him. We're gonna who in their right mind would stay here with the parents? He didn't even take the time to say something to his stunned parents. You ran after Cove, shutting the door more softly behind you as you left. You spotted him easily. Cove hadn't made it far. He had just reached the middle of the road. Let's just follow quietly. You had already said enough. You walked a couple paces behind him, silent. Cove stumped forwards, going across the street without hesitance, towards your house. It didn't take long to approach the front door. You'd left it unlocked, so he yanked it open and went inside with you. Then the night fully came. I just ruined the entire dinner! Oh! I'm feeling great! I'm being terrible. What have I done? The two of you stood tensely together in the middle of your living room. The night really hadn't gone as you imagined it would. Wait, have we just been standing there staring at each other while the sun went completely down? How long does that take? Here it can take entire hours. Depending on where the sun is, what do you mean? At least Elizabeth wasn't around and your moms were out. Then why did we leave the door unlocked? Hello? Or is like the sister still in the house? I mean, it's not that better if you can just pull the door open, but still. You had no idea how you would have explained the situation to them, and you were sure Cove wouldn't have been up for that. He watched you from a distance. His expression wasn't hostile, but it was not exactly welcoming either. Do you want to be doing this? You said nothing. We're not gonna say you did the right thing. Are you okay? Feels like a really stupid question that I try to avoid if I know someone is like upset. But I feel like in this situation it's like the only option. I can what do you want to do now sounds better, to be honest. Cove shifted to his back was to you and then crossed his arm over his chest. Okay. Pure out of curiosity, is that the same answer? I think it's just the same answer for all. Wait, is it the same answer for all? It's just the same answer for all of them. Oh, great. Me like, oh no, important decision. Gave me like, ha, you think you have a choice. How cute. Are you mad at me? To your surprise, he actually responded. What? No.
It's okay.
I wished I know before, but I guess there's never really a good time to bring up something like that. You're not the one who did anything. His tone was clipped and insulting, but it was now fully clear that none of the negativity was towards you. We're actually friends, aren't we? Besides, it's not like it worked. We only really became friends way later. It doesn't matter if you took it or not. You nodded your head furiously at that. It was one thing you didn't want this revelation to do. It was weaken your relationship. Of course we're friends. Cove seems to appreciate your reassurance. The furrow in his brow eased a little. Besides, $20 would not have been enough to, like, force me to do anything with you, to be honest. At least not this long. Maybe I would have like helped search for you, but that's it. If Dad gave me like $20, I would have like searched for the weird kid maybe, and then like, yeah, okay, this is not gonna work. Goodbye. Yeah, we are. I'm definitely not mad at you. I should thank you for not letting him get to you, and for telling me it happened. My dad never would have. He's always like that. He just does things. He doesn't ask or tell me about it or anything. Cove threw his arms out, his features twisted in frustration. There's always that thing with my mom coming to stay with us for the summer out of nowhere, and it was supposed to be a surprise I'd find out about it. Who knows what other things he's done that I never heard of? Does he even know how to think what someone else might actually want? He paused to take a panting breath, scowling. He needs to talk. Let's just sit quietly and let him talk. Uninterrupted by you, Cove went on with his spiel. The worst part is, I know he doesn't do stuff for himself. He does things because he wants to make people happy. Cove blinked rapidly. You noticed tears were gathering in his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with emotion. But he just makes everything worse. And then he's really sorry, and it's like it's your fault for not being happy, that he was at least trying. And what if all his plans and always being so pushy did change things? What things? Cove finally met your gaze, his bottom lip trembling. You realized that then that he was referring to you and him. What if he did made you stay away from me before we even got to know each other? His voice cracked as he forced himself to speak through the tears that began to fall in earnest. He did everything he could to say it, but the words were barely a whisper. True, you were the best thing about coming here. Oh, I'm getting sad. Gove was honestly terrified over the idea that there was a chance the two of you might not have what you do. You step forward and rested your hand on his shoulder. We're gonna hug him. Oh, wipe away his tears. That's also sweet, but... Can we wipe away the tears and then hug him? Is like that an option? I want that to be an option. You weren't sure if you thought she would be welcome, but you wanted him to feel bad. Nope, we're gonna hug him. Cove readily accepted the embrace. He wrapped his arms around you in return. The grip was firm. I'm glad we got to be friends. Please don't cry. Hey, don't worry about it, right? You didn't say anything. Wouldn't have let anything your dad or anyone else did mess things up. His features crumbled at your words. More tears threatened to fall down his cheek. But he stubbornly blinked them away. You remained like that for just a little while, and then the parents came home and were like, what happened? Then he scrubbed his eyes with the back of his hand. Of one hand. Whatever. His gaze turned away from you, growing distant. He's like that with my mom too. The anger he had begun to release bubbled back up to the surface. My dad wants to make people happy, but he doesn't. Oh, that sounds... okay. The words landed scarily hard. You weren't certain it crushed Mr. Holden if he heard them. Oh, you were certain. Okay, yeah. I was like, I think it would take it pretty bad, but okay. You'd never know much about his parents' relationship, but you thought you understood it a bit better now. You felt bad that things were so hard for Cove and his dad. I hate it when people say I'm sorry. But I also don't want to say like, oh, you're not meaning what you're saying, or do you hate your dad? I'm here for you. I totally read over that option. That's like the best. Cove just looked at the ground. As the two of you were stilled by the quiet, a thought came to your mind, abrupt and sudden. What about your fish? I remember the day when it happened. You ran to the hills behind the house, and Mr. Holden waited for you to come back while my mom's checked the park for you. That's when I met you for the first time, after he talked to me about you. Cove lifted his eyes just enough to see you. His head remained low. I remember too. When we first moved to Sunset Bird, I felt like I lost my whole life. Maybe that's why he wanted to help you start a life here so much. His eyebrows scrunched up, and he seemed on the verge of tears once more. It was obvious Cove didn't want to think about his dad that way, but it was also hard not to right now. He must be conflicted over where to go from here. Your dad needs to stop being so forceful, though. You might feel better than you do if you try to make up with your dad. No. You guys really need to learn how to communicate. Yes! Communication! Cove frowned thoughtfully. He didn't say anything, but you had a feeling he was taking what you said into consideration. I'm going back home. Huh? I unlocked an achievement. Hold up. The deal, part 2. During step 2, tell Cove about the deal his dad wants to make with you. I could have had dinner? Instead of trauma, I could have had dinner? It was, I mean, okay. I mean, I kind of get it, but I could have had dinner? His face was set in determination. There was no way you could tell him to do anything else, even if you wanted to. So you only nodded.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Drew. I'm sorry about all of this. Can I come with you? Yeah? Why wouldn't you go? He smiled lightly. Just checking. Cove nodded and headed outside. You followed behind him. I'm like the little puppy walking behind its owner, like, oh, the little duckling. Just walking behind him, like, wherever you go, well, I will follow you. You're stuck with me now. Basically, that's how I treat all my friendship. At first, I'm a little bit distant, and then when I start growing close with someone, it's like, you're stuck with me now. You're not escaping at me anymore. Goodbye. Oh, good luck, or whatever. Once again, the two of you made your way across the street towards his house. He didn't pause at the door, he just opened it wide and went in. Ghost's parents were sitting at the table, their heads bowed and silence between them. They snapped over at the sound of the door, relieved to see Cove return. Mr. Holden stood up suddenly, his chair sculled across the floor.
Cove?
Cove? Kara got out of her chair as well, but less dramatically. How are you feeling, baby? I want to talk to you. His parent looks over at him, their features soft. Cove instead snuck a glance at you. He said, why wouldn't I be here? So of course we're glad we could be here for him. If he shouldn't have been here, he wouldn't have said, of course you can come. You stared back solidly, hoping you could convey your support with your eyes. It must have worked, because Cove stood up a bit straighter. Cove then fully faced his parents. Mr. Holden stepped forward, cautiously, his expression twisted in dismay. So sorry. I should never have done something so stupid. It's okay. It really isn't. That was a bonehead move, if ever there was one. I was bribing an actual child, one I had never met before that day. Yeah, okay, that's pretty low. I feel, of course you can go lower, but like within legal standards, bribing a child, you legit in like the first few sentences you say to that child is pretty low. Cove almost cracked a smile, though he quickly remained his composure. Then, it isn't, but I want things to be okay anyway.
I'm sorry.
Cove, I'm sorry. Kara placed a hand on Mr. Holden's shoulder. Your dad doesn't believe there's something wrong with you, or that you can't make your own friends. He can explain.
I know.
I know why Dad did it. He wanted me to be happy, that's all. He didn't think it'd be like this. It was an accident. Kara sighed heavily. A sad smile appeared on her lips. That's definitely not a smile, but sure. You're very grown up, Cove. Mr. Holden brought his hands up against his forehead and began to pace around the room. He didn't seem to know what to do with himself. He turned back around to face Cove and Kara. He looked more solemn than you ever seen him. I'm not going to do it again. I haven't done it again. I might hope so. Haven't tried to bribe more people, or haven't continued to step over a line without registering it. Both. Look, that's a sad smell. Or well, at least it's a smell, not really sad, but okay. He let out a heavy breath, before shrinking down a little. It was impressive, because he was pretty tall.
I'm trying.
I don't know, but I don't think so. Cove's throat popped as he saw it thickly. He looked like he was trying to gather all his courage. When he spoke up, his voice was small but firm. You invited Mom here? His dad's eye widened. Cove was ready to have a talk he had put off before. He didn't ask me if I wanted things to be like this. With both of you together again, for just a little while. Mr. Holden's hand slowly returned to his forehead. He was stunned, as if someone had just hit him. I did it again. And I didn't even notice. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just do things right? At least Cove seemed relieved that he was able to say what he felt. You know just how long he'd been holding that in. I like how we're just commentating in our heads about like the whole thing going on. We're just reacting as if it's some type of like sports battle or something. Like, oh, and now Cove feels at peace, but his dad, oh no, his dad is blaming himself for basically everything that ever happened. It was quiet for a long stretch. Mr. Holden had sat down in a chair, his shoulders dropped and his head in his hand. He looked to Cove. He watched his dad and how genuinely he was struggling with what he had been told. Cove glanced down at the ground, then he looked back to his dad. I'm not angry anymore. Slowly, Mr. Holden's met his son's eyes. I can try to talk to you about things and what I feel about stuff. I stopped saying that to you since everything happened. I didn't want to talk to you, but you won't have to guess if you know. Mr. Holden broke eye contact at that, shaking his head.
God.
That child shouldn't have to take care of me. I wouldn't say putting down healthy boundaries is taking care of you. More like taking care of the person themselves, but sure. You shouldn't have to make up for my shortcomings, Cove. I can fix things. I can still change. Oh, that sounds unhealthy, dude. After having something of an outburst, Mr. Holden turned his face away and spoke more guardedly. Besides, I'm used to that already. I might not get it right, but not a damn thing would happen in what's left of this family if I wasn't making the effort. It's always me. What's one more thing to manage? Dad.
I see.
You're right, Cliff. I know. But I don't think Cove wants to take care of you. He just wants to understand. And he wants his dad to understand too. That's what matters, isn't it? It was still, as Mr. Holden suggested what Kiara said. He stared down at his empty hands, held out in front of him. Then he looked at Cove again, tiny tears glimmering in the corner of his eyes. And then we zoomed in on only them. He got up and crossed the room to his son. Cove didn't move or look away as he approached. Mr. Holden set his hands on Cove's shoulders and the touch firm. He furrowed his brows. But you and I are going to talk about every single thought that ever pops into our heads. Okay. Okay, hold up. I know I said set healthy boundaries and stuff like that. I did not mean talk about every single thought in your head. That sounds... I feel like you're trying to flip the light switch, whatever, too far. Like you're going from barely talking to talking about everything, and neither sides of the extreme are healthy. For the rest of your life. Oh no. He shoved Cove forward a bit, and back a bit. Tears slipped down Cove's cheeks, but he was smiling.
What?
No, I didn't want that. Mr. Holden began to swell too. It trembled at the corners, but it was genuine. I'm afraid it's the only way. Kara chuckled, even as she blinked away her own tears. Mr. Holden turned towards her. You better not be thinking you can get away with this, Kiara. The same is gonna apply to you. You can't. He let go of Cove with one hand while he placed his other arm around Cove's shoulders. Then he faced Kiara.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, I can. He continued to talk as he walked in her direction, bringing Cove along with him. Oh, this is such a sweet picture. Then father and son were standing in front of her. Mr. Holden put his other arm around her. Now he had both of them in his arms. If you think the idea is that I actually gonna go, well, I feel like I just switched around every word in that sentence. Oh, that confused me. If you think the ideas that I actually go with are bad, you two are going to be amazed by the thoughts I decided against all on my own. That sounds like a threat. Oh no. Kiara jokingly cringed at the concept. Cove smiled tearfully up at his parents. Thanks, Dad.
I'm so glad.
Thank you, son. But hey, you know what I'm thinking now? Cove wiped his face with the back of his hand. Shook his head. God, no, you're an incomprehensible maniac. He's probably like, let's eat dinner or something, right? Miss Holden laughed, not disturbing her words. I'm thinking we should eat at dinner. I painstakingly made. It's savageable. Just gotta heat it up, back up. Kira sighed in an exasperated relief.
Can do.
That we can manage, right, Cove? Yeah. Great. We're making progress already.
Well...
Though, I don't even know how I'm going to start making it up to True. Carrying that secret for all this time must have been quite a burden to bear. Plus, they didn't actually get any money out of that deal. They didn't take the 20. I'm not mad about it or anything. It was a hard time for your family. Either way, I or we will work on it. Okay. Cove ducked his head toward and spoke towards you. There was a tiny smile on his face. Do you want to stay for dinner still? I'd love to. No, I came all the way over here just to see the drama and then leave. It's like free reality TV. Mr. Holden finally let go of his family. Kiara patted him on the back with a content side. You're very good, boys. I'm so lucky. Cove shyly rubbed his arm, while Mr. Holden nervously rubbed his neck. Neither could make eye contact out of bashfulness. In that moment, they really did seem like father and son. Cove's family was nice, you thought to yourself. You were glad that you got to come over. That was such a nice memory! Aww. I mean, aside from like all the trauma we had to unpack, it was such a nice memory. Debut. And then we get road trip. And that's the last one before all the DCs come in. Birthdays, deals, okay. Escape. Lemonade. Siblings. Okay, road trip. Let's go. Even though you were awake, the sun had barely peeked its head above the horizon, and the sky above was still dark, though lightening by the minute. Usually it wouldn't be up so early, especially during summer vacation, but today was different. Oh, what, because we're going on the road trip? Just a guess on like the title of the memory. Today, instead of the lazy days you were used to, everything around you was a flurry of activity as both your family and Coast prepared for what laid ahead. Because parked in the street just outside your house was a massive RV camper. So big you couldn't even see Coast's house behind it. Okay. His parent had rented the RV for a few days to take him on a short road trip to see the Redwood National Park. He glanced at Cove, who was standing nearby, taking the scene in front of him. The prospect of the trip had to be a mixed bag for him, but it was only 3 days, so it seemed like he was dealing with it the best he could. Especially now that you and your family were joining them. You weren't sure how exactly it happened. You knew your parents and Cove spoke to each other often, and somewhere along the way, plans were made after Cliff offered to share the space. The parents all thought it was a fantastic idea. You had already gotten a good look inside while helping to load everything in. You had to admit that while it was a really big car, fitting that many people inside was going to be snug.
Let's go.
Move it or lose it, kiddo. Mom bustled past with a cooler in one hand and a large bottle of water under the other. How big is that cooler? We have like pretty big coolers. I would not be able to carry that with one hand. Oh, maybe in like a handle or something. Yeah, that would make more sense. She was upbeat for this early in the morning. Oh my god, a morning person. Please, no, go away. That's more relatable. However, seemed to be on the other side of the wavelength. She followed behind her wife, dragging her feet on every step. I'm gonna need a whole jug of coffee once we hit the road. You could relate to Ma. It was way too early. Personally, you were raring to go with your mom. You felt like you were in the middle grounds between the two. I barely wake up before like 9-10 a.m. in the morning. And then the sun is like long up. It's almost afternoon by the time I get out of bed. I would die inside if I had to get up early. You yawned and rubbed at your eyes. Still sleepy from the early morning wake-up call. The air outside was still damp from dew that helped make you a bit more alert. Yeah, okay, early going to school. Like, when I'm moving, I can wake up, but before that, God, no. And then at the end of the chain came your sister. She had a bone to pick before the trip officially started. Her rattling of critiques added some level of normalcy to everything new going on. Ugh. I don't get why I can't sleep in the bed tonight. Truth is the youngest, and I will never fall asleep in that loft. We're trying to make things fair on everyone. If you want to play the older card, you should be offering to take the loft both nights. It's important for big siblings to make sacrifices for their younger ones. Elizabeth huffed, not happy with that answer in the slightest, and folded her arms, leaning back against the side of the RV. The trip had been nailed down prior, the sleeping arrangements included. Elizabeth still held on to her objections with them. There was a main area on the RV with a couch, loft, and some floor space. At the end of the car was a room with a large bed. Your moms were sharing the bed. Kiara was on the couch, and father and son intended to sleep on the floor. The thoughts determined you and Elizabeth would switch between the small loft above the dinner seat and sharing the bed with moms. I quickly Google what a loft is because I have a feeling loft like RV Amber images. Oh, that looks fine. I would maybe be slightly claustrophobic, but it's not bad. Because the ones I'm seeing are quite spacious, you know. For like 2 nights, I would be totally fine just sleeping there. I do, however, not like switching rooms. Or sharing a bed with parents. Well, okay. There are moments where I'm fine with like sharing a bed with people. With parents, the only exception is if I'm really uncomfortable in a new space. Which, surprise, surprise, happens quite often if we're on vacation. If the choice comes between not sleeping at all or sleeping in a bed with the parents, then the sleeping in bed with parents is obviously gonna win because I need sleep. Okay. It will be a new experience for you. It sounded kinda cool. Alright, you lot. Does everyone have everything they need? Riding out in 5 minutes. Now is the time to double check. You don't want to forget something important. At that word, Elizabeth yelped and dashed back into the house. Her bed head hair bouncing behind her as she went. Ma came over and gave you a smile, setting her hands on her hips. How about you, True? Do you have all your clothes packed? Toiletry? Deodorant, floss, anything else you can think of? He just gave her a flat look. You weren't 8 years old anymore. You were 13! Or 13? Okay. At least we have an age now. So it has been like 5... Or were we 7 in the first one? Somewhere between 7 and 9. Either of those two. I don't remember, to be honest. Oh, my bad. I'm more than capable of remembering what to bring on the trip. Alright, I like to fuss. Ma laughed softly and ruffled her hair before she walked off. Okay, not gonna lie, I'm not that big of a fan of, like, the bathrobes in, like, real life, but that one looks really comfortable. Within a few minutes left to spare before leaving, you mentally went over everything you had packed for the trip. Clothes, a pillow, a blanket, usual day-to-day gear for most people, stuffed animals. You also had more personal things such as stuffed animal, a portable gaming console. To drive to the Redwood National Park would take an entire day, one way, so you wanted to make sure you had a way to entertain yourself while traveling there and back. My favorite stuffed animal. Without fail, it always made you feel more comfortable whenever you went somewhere new. It was like taking a little piece of home away with you. Couple things to read. You had back one of your old favorites and a new one you never tried before. You knew you had plenty of time before for them both on such a long drive. A bag of makeup, I don't wear makeup, a ball, your camera. Since we don't have a phone, an MP3 player with headphones, yes. With so much time going to spend driving a car, you want to make sure you will be able to have some music to put on. And that's everything. Yeah, I don't need those. Hey, let me take that for you, true? I will stow it in the RV. There's a few spots left that will fit. You let Kiara take your bag and gave her a grateful smile. With nothing left to do, you watched the others getting ready for the trip. Kiara and Cliff seemed to have the most energy of anyone. They were finishing packing the suitcases away while your mums had gone to lock up the house. They high-fived whenever another one got cramped into the storage compartments of the vehicle. Even though your parents were more low-key than Co's, you could tell they were both excited for the trip. It had been a while since your family had been away anywhere together. Elizabeth skipped towards the RV, a bag slung over her shoulder, and you were surprised to see she seemed more optimistic about the whole ordeal now. Usually, she wasn't one to exit the confines of her room unless it was for TV or food or to leave her family behind to be with friends. You would have thought that 3 whole days packed in an RV with 6 others would be too much for her. Now you put it like that, that sounds like an absolute hell. I mean, there was a room in the back, and my parents most likely would have let me escape there if needed, so But it was a nice surprise. You suppose any vacation was better than no vacation in her mind. Cove had been pretty quiet so far, and more than anything seemed to be overwhelmed by the situation. You were excited for the trip too. You weren't very excited for the trip either. You were eager to get to the destination. You're curious about the RV. I'm curious about the car. You had never stayed overnight in one before, and wanted to know what it'd be like. Soon the miscellaneous remaining tasks had been all wrapped up. Ooh, that looks fancy. I could most definitely just sleep here, to be honest. As long as there's like a ladder that I can place there for like the entire night, because otherwise I will most definitely fall. Everyone piled into the RV, the official time for the trip to start. As it did, Cliff took the first shift driving. He cautiously navigated the massive car out of the narrow neighborhood streets. It was a touch and go for the first part of the journey. Your moms and Kiara were all huddled at the front, trying to get a view of how much space they had on each side. There was a sense of relief when the first long leg of the trip was hit, and our view would only need to go down one stretch of the highway for miles. The mom group cleared out, and the driver's area leaving Coast add to it, taking more comfortable seats around the main cabin. You felt like you could finally relax now too. Time slipped by as the morning faded away. Before he realized it, the engine of the RV came to a stop, but only halted for a few moments as Cliff climbed out of the driver's seat and Mom took over. Ma was still sitting shotgun, giving Mom a quick tutorial on the controls as it was her first driving anything this large. Cliff groaned as he headed back towards the rest of you, stretching his arms above his head and loosening up his muscles. We're making good progress. Yeah, maybe you should take a nap in the back for a while. There was a long haul you just did, and I know you're on less sleep than usual. Cliff waved a hand, the trademark grin of his slipping into place.
Nah.
I don't need sleep. I've still got a few miles in the old tank. It took me way too long to realize he was talking about himself and not the car. He flexed an arm, showing off his muscles to drive the point about how resilient he was home, and Kiara rolled her eyes in amusement. Dad, everybody has to sleep. Cove shook his head, and at the tough guy act, though Cliff simply chuckled and ruffled his son's hair.
So?
Are you going to be driving again anytime soon, Mr. Holden? I want to know so I can prepare. Did anyone pack some rope? I might need it. There's no seatbelts up here. Elizabeth called down from where she was lounging in the loft above the driving compartment. Wait. When an RV is moving, you should still be strapped in seatbelts, right? Hold up. Camper seatbelt. But I'm searching in Dutch, so I get Dutch answers. What's the Dutch word for seatbelt? Rules. Okay, I got the answers almost. Yeah. Here it's like a rule that you have to wear a seatbelt while driving. Other places you're not allowed to. Huh. What's it in the US like? This is just me getting curious about rules. I'm sorry that's taking a bit longer. It sounds like in US states in America. Hold up. Of course it depends per state. One, it says everyone must be, the other one says only in the front, the others above, under 15. The other one said only the front seat people. The other said the other ones. Like everyone again. Why is it with America that every state has this? I would not be able to keep track of all these rules. They're never the same. What do you mean? Okay. That was something. Not something I expected, but something. Interesting. She was laying on her back, her hair falling out over the sides and swinging around as the RV started up again and took off the road. A bag of potato chips was balanced on Elizabeth's stomach, and she tossed a couple in her mouth right as Cliff held a hand to his chest, pretending to be offended by the remark. Carol laughed lightheartedly.
Don't worry about that.
Lucky for all of us, we have enough adults to cover the shifts today. He won't be driving again until tomorrow. Okay, but like, hold up. If she's laying up there, she would just be like flying if they get into a crash, right? This doesn't sound safe at all. Now I'm just concerned my character is gonna die in a car crash. Just enough time to write up my last will and testament. Oh yes. Not you too. The rest of the group laughed while Cliff crowded in. You gave him an apologetic shrug. Mom then shouted back in her seat to join in the conversation. A playful smile tilted her lips. What I'm more worried about is this old monster getting us there and back again before falling apart. It looks as though it was built in the early 19th. It must be older than some of the occupants. That's just the aesthetic of the core. It's not that old. I think. Did you ask what year the model was before you rented it? Tara wrinkled her nose in thought.
Hey!
Yes, I did. I just can't remember what the answer was. Cliff chuckled at her, while the rest of you let out a collective sigh. The RV lurked a little as it picked up speed, and you held onto the ladder to the loft to keep your balance. I'm just assuming it's like somewhere in the back, because I'm not seeing any ladders here. You felt something graze the top of your head before a weight settled on your beige hair. When you tilted your chin up carefully to look, you heard the rustling of a bag of chips and realized Elizabeth had rested the end of it on your head. She gestured to the opening, silently offering to share her snack. Yes, chips. Reaching up, you scooped up some chips. After that, the weight of the packet left your scalp. You happily munched away on as the conversation continued on, and you got closer and closer to your destination. The day flew by, and before with the group of you chatting, playing games, and passing the night together, time together, before finally arriving at the park and setting up for the night. Ma was closing the windows while everyone got ready for bed, saying goodnight to each other as she made her way to the back room. You all had dinner together while still driving, and some hours after had arrived at your destination and found a spot to park in the rest of your stay. Giving a look across the front of the RV, you noticed almost everyone there was already dozing off, where they were, with Cove having completely fallen asleep curled up in the passenger's seat. That sounds uncomfortable. Must have done so while Kiara was driving the last leg, and they had decided to not disturb him. Still fair, but that sounds ooh. Now I'm just remembering like falling asleep on a plane, sitting up, and just everything hurting when I woke up. I would have, if I ever fall asleep in a seat for like longer than an hour, wake me up. Okay. No, now I think about it, in a car I have slept in way more uncomfortable positions, but Kiara herself was the only one up there who was still awake, flipping through a magazine through the portable light from her spot on the couch. It seemed Mr. Holden needed sleep despite his claims. You followed your mums into the back room and closed the door behind before crawling onto the bed between them. It was a queen-size bed, so there was enough space for the three of you together without too much squishing.
Good night.
Get a good rest, Drew. We've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow.
That's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to the bushwalk in the morning. It's been a long time since I was out in nature like this. There will be plenty for us to see. You stayed awake for a little while longer while your moms whispered about the park and forest in general. With the sound of their voice in the background, eventually you nodded off to sleep. The next morning you were up bright and early, preparing for the day ahead. I would have slept okay, not perfectly, but honestly I also don't remember the last time I slept perfectly, or slept well, whatever, same thing. It was nothing compared to your bed at home, but at least you didn't have to sleep on the floor, so you couldn't complain too much. Ma whined a bit about the furnace of the mattress, but Mom had only encouraged her to enjoy the trip while she could. While looking for a spot to get ready, you had some trouble finding a space of your own, as the others were doing the same thing. Gove was perched on the top of the counter, brushing his hair and chucking up his leg every time someone wanted to move past. The parents were checking, double-checking and triple-checking that you had everything, to the point where you had to stop listening to them altogether. You knew you wouldn't be returning to the RV at all that day. But by the look of the backpacks that were packed up and ready to go, you doubted anything was missing from them. It didn't take much longer until all exited the RV and bustled in a bustle and headed into the Redwood National Park. Wow. Gove had his head tilted up towards the canopy of trees, his eyes wide as he took in the massive trunks on either side of you. You know that the redwood trees were considered the tallest trees on Earth, but you weren't prepared for exactly how huge they would be in person.
Come on.
Smell, you two. You spun just in time for Kiara to snap a picture of you and Gove together. Before she pointed her camera at Cliff, trying to get a shot despite his weak protest that she should just enjoy the moment. Your parents were walking behind the group a little, while Mom telling Ma some information she had read about the park in a brochure. Ma listened happily while looking around and taking in the sights every now and then, asking a question or making a joke about something Mom had said. You smiled at them, thinking your mom must have read a lot of pamphlets to know so much about the park. Maybe you should come and work here as a tour guide if you know so much about the place. Elizabeth teased, earning a squeeze on the nose from your mom. She seemed to be enjoying herself, but you thought that might just be because she was amused by everyone else's reaction. You were in awe of the redwood trees. You were fascinated by the sensation surrounding you. You were in a good mood. You weren't as impressed as the others. You were embarrassed that the adults were being touristry. In good mood, why not? The air was fresh and clean, and it was nice to be outdoors while the people you loved most. Well, you were certain that this was only the beginning of what would be a great day. The adults had decided on some casual... What's casual in adults? I'm traumatized by my family. Because, like, a casual nature walk can become an entire hike. Rather than any serious hiking. And you strolled along at your own pace, taking in the scenery. Elizabeth sped up a little, smirking at Gove as she fell into place between the two of you. And immediately you could tell by her expressions he was gonna say something taunting. I can't believe our families are actually on vacation together. She threw her arms out, speaking with a genuine sense of bewilderment. I would have joked about something like this happening, but now I'm not sure I want to give them any more ideas. Gove smiled at her, even if it was a little awkwardly, and continued walking along. Just watch. Next year they will be talking about their next new amazing idea. She put on a fake voice deeper than her own. We should just sell both our houses and move in together. Think about how much we save on mortgage. It was clear Elizabeth was being sarcastic. Gove simply shook his head, not really bothered by her. You suppose he was used to it at this point. But seriously, they really do act like a single family, just because we live across the street from each other. Elizabeth gave you and Cove a look, her eyes glinting with mischief as she leered at you.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we will be related, legally anyway. She said it as though she was a gossipy old lady. Maybe. I guess you and me could get married, Elizabeth. She was not expecting that one.
What?
What? Me? Yeah. That way, True would become my sibling-in-law. That would be fun. Elizabeth stuck her tongue out at Cove, as if the very idea was ridiculous. I will marry you, Cove. Oh no, Shiloh! I forgot all about the little dude. No. I won't marry you, Cove. We're not gonna... I want to see the reaction, but I will be going for this one. Oh great, then I have an excuse not to be at your wedding. Okay, she just moves along. We must unite our family ties to increase our pull in the community. A political marriage. It might be alright with you. And then it's an agreement.
Sure.
Okay. Elizabeth poked out her tongue at the both of you, giving you a sour look. She walked ahead, obviously not getting the response he was looking for, and you and Cove swept an amused look. The day continued on, with plenty to see and experience. You passed a few different activities that would have liked to try out if you had the time, such as kayaking and rock climbing, but most said that would have to wait for another trip. There was a little stream during the walk that you set beside and set out a picnic for lunch, nibbling on a selection of fruit, sandwiches and chips. Various birds flew overhead, and you made a game out of guessing the species that were hanging out in the trees nearby. Okay, question. If you're next to a river, did we build a dam? Like, did we build a little, like, thing? Because you cannot place me or my family anywhere near a river, and we will just be using stones, dirt, sticks, and that to make a temporary, like, little dam in it. Of course, we break it when we are about to leave, because we don't actually want to accidentally damage any of the nature by slowing down the river. But it's fun while it lasts. You even managed to get a couple of them right, including a kingfisher that grabbed half of Cliff's sandwich. No, we're glad we did this. This is fun. All the other ones I didn't like just spending one day in the forest. Well, why would you be sad about it? Just, like, enjoy it while it lasts. There's more on the trip to come. I think. I don't know. It was definitely a special experience, and one you would remember for a long time to come. You smiled to yourself, committing the sights and sounds to memory. Your group made it back to camp just as the sun was setting in the sky, and the stars were appearing one by one. Everyone had enjoyed different parts of it at most. You traded stories for what you thought while you were eating dinner, then afterwards you pitched in to help clean up. You, along with Elizabeth and Cove, got to head back to the RV early. Hello! You're here! Oh my god, can I change your color in chat? Because I can not read your name. Hold up. I did something. Oh no, what did I do? I cannot see chat any. Okay, I can see chat again. Hold up. Can I change your color or do you need to change your color? I'm gonna see. I cannot change your color. Fun. Maybe if I refresh. Yes, now you're red. That's way better than the dark blue you were in my chat. I can. Okay, now you're purple. Okay. I think you will now stay purple forever. Anyway, hi. You have missed me searching up interesting things. I get way too curious with this game and I just search basically everything up. You know, I know you can like change whenever, but I meant like if you leave now or if I refresh now or anything like that, you will remain purple until you change it. That's what I meant. And what did you miss? Did you watch anything back? Like, are you only talking about this stream or are you talking about the 3 streams before this too? I kind of need to like know how far along you are. Like, I see you're at the camping park. Yeah. We're at the we just did like the park thing. Well, it's fine that you didn't watch anything back. Anything you want to know before I continue? Because I know you know this game because you recommended it. And I skip through it really fast. Fair enough. They are long streams. I have a total of 11 hours in this game. Oh no. I forget every time I scroll. But you like it, right? No, I do really long streams for like 4 hours and I'm discussing buying the DLCs and playing them again. Because I don't like it. Sarcasm. That's really heavy sarcasm. You know, I like it. But like, yeah, okay, but like what? No, never mind. Okay. Good way to start the conversation here. But like, is there anything you want to know before I continue or should I just continue? Like, I don't know really if you need to know anything about this game, but do you need to know anything? I think the silence is telling me either you're typing a really long message. Is there gonna be a very... there's gonna... I wanna know one thing. Hold up, I wanna know one thing, actually. But you can also finish your thing. I will ask mine. Are you doing the... well, you see, I'm building it up. Like, I started... wait, where's the load thing? I started the first thing at Indifference. Now we're at Font. And then the next one I can't decide. I think I'm just gonna go for Crush. And that's then Teenager. And in Adults, we're gonna do Love. So this route, I'm just building it up. Enemies to lovers. Yes. The slow burn. I need the slow burn check on the stream. But no. My question about the dinner thing. We love a slow burn. I mean, this slow burn is great. I love it. Some slow burns are terrible. This one I like. But the dinner memory, where you go like have dinner with Cove's parents. I just chose to like reveal that his dad tried to pay me money and I accidentally ruined like the entire dinner for a bit before they like made up and we all ate dinner. If I hadn't chosen the option about like telling him the secret, would I just have had a normal dinner? Instead of like opening the can of trauma worms. If you don't know, it's fine. I was just curious. I also, okay, yeah, that's fine. I think it went all right. Okay, then I will just continue reading. You, along with Elizabeth and Cove, got to head back to the RV early. and spent some time together while the parents stayed out longer. Ooh, there are multiple times when you can reveal it. I just revealed it like right at the start. It was nice to have the space to yourself after the cramped journey there. And while Elizabeth had locked herself in the back room with her headphones, you and Cove were left in the main lounge area. Dangerous lad. No! I legit was like, oh yeah, no, keeping secrets from your friends bad. We should tell him. And then I started like this entire like snowballing effect, and I was like, this is getting so bad. I kind of want to scroll back and just undo everything. Because yeah, I discovered... Did you also play it on the PC? Because I'm playing it on like the PC with like keyboards and stuff. I don't know if it's out on like any other platform. Maybe not. Yeah, I discovered that you can like scroll back and change choices. And I have maybe a little bit abused that power to like see other options. We're gonna hang out with Cove. Who in their right mind would relax on their own? A lot. Yeah. You might as well get comfortable. Who knows how long they will be out for. I don't know if pink is his color. It kind of clashes with his hair, I'm not gonna lie. Not saying he doesn't look good in it, I'm just saying it might not be his color. He took a seat on the sofa while Cove sat down on the other end, tapping his finger against his knee. Yeah, it's the fashion police. You know, I hardly see you wearing a jacket, especially in summer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was wearing a few layers as possible. As few layers as possible. It was easier that way. I'd rather be cold than extra hot. If it's kind of a pain to carry extra clothes around. My parents made me bring this jacket. Fair enough. My mom literally hated. I have like one jacket that I wear the entire year round. Like, in the winter, you will see me walking around with like gloves, long pants, shoes, stuff like that. But then I have like my summer jacket open. So like, it's not keeping any cold out, really. But then in the summer, well, if it's like 30 degrees outside, you're not gonna see me walk around in a jacket. But you will probably still see me wearing the same jacket. Open, but just without the gloves. Also like long pants. I think I will see you on a jacket. That's probably the same jacket. I need to replace it. That thing is falling apart after so many times of wearing. But I don't wear the jacket a lot. It depends on the weather. But the last few times it has been like really hot. I don't mind either way. I just dress depending on the weather or how I'm feeling at the time. Yeah. Cove smiled lightly at you and nodded. I noticed. You changed the subject. You ask him what he likes to see others wear. Why would you? Huh? Why would you ask that? Hey, what kind of things do you think are nice to see on other people? Cove's eyes widened at question, and his defensive reply seemed to slip out before it had any chance to probably think about it. Nothing! Nothing! This is gay! Great! Cove's like ankle... uh-huh. And if you wear one while having a crush in the scene, he would have a great moment. Ankle pint you. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Do English people have a word for it? Hold up. Google Translate. Come and help me, please. Ankle band. That sounds no. I mean, it's an anklet.
Anklet.
Anklet. How great. An anklet. I legit just said the word, but okay, you can ignore it. It's fine. Creative. Nothing. That is funny. What do you mean? I legit laughed at that. Laughed out loud, and Cove gave you a dry look.
Come on.
Come on, that was not what I meant. You composed yourself and sat up straighter, at all trace of laughter disappearing from your face. Answer what you do mean then. Isn't there anything at all you think looks good when you see it on someone? We know your secret, Cove. Cove mumbled under his breath, and you couldn't quite catch the word. He was having a difficult time with the subject. Anklet. Wink wink. Yeah, nothing but an anklet. Made him come, so you let it go. You had a little fun, and that was enough. You changed the subject. You're not very good at these conversations, are you? That's something I would say, to be honest. I see I make fun of you. I thought it would be fun to talk about. You hadn't intended for this to sour the mood. Do it. Okay. You, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I'm not. Fair enough. Cove seemed pretty grumpy at your statement, but you weren't ready to give up so easily. I'm still waiting on an answer. Cove sighed and looked down at the slab, where he was fidgeting with his hands, still reluctant to give an answer.
I don't know.
I don't know, fair enough. You made an unimpressed sound over how this was going. Oh, shy boy. Next time I'm gonna make sure you're here from the start because your commentary is great. Are you sure?
Cove, fine. I guess. I kind of like ankle bracelets. Self-voicing disabled.
I got kind of scared. Suddenly it started talking back to me. I turned on the outer voice on accident. Reveal with sound effect. Go, fine. I guess I kind of like ankle bracelets. Hey, that does mean if I don't know words, I can now just turn on auto voicing, which I didn't know was a thing. Is that in like the menu? No, config. It doesn't say anything here about auto voicing. I didn't even... Instead I use like space to continue. And I accidentally pressed the V. Ankle bracelets? Yeah, everyone can wear a pretty bracelet. West ones are cool too, but they're pretty normal. There's something fun or flirty about ankle bracelets.
I mean...
It's more special or something. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't either. Dirty boy. What do you mean dirty? Golf pressed his knuckles against his cheek awkwardly, seeming unsure where to go from here. So you think they're sexy? Oi! Watch your words! It's probably because Automod doesn't know Dutch, but no, I'm not gonna allow that. You watch your words before you get accidentally muted in my stream. Behave better! This is your warning. Next time I'm muting you. Or what is it that I can do? Hold up. If I'm gonna threaten you, I'm gonna do it right. Timeout, right. You have gotten 4 times out already. Too long message, too long message, too long message. Right, you were the reason I turned off my automod. Yeah, that one, the one stream. The first one where you joined with like the Slime Ranger 2. Yeah. I had like an automod on to protect my chat. And I had to turn it off because you and my other cousins just kept spamming stuff and typing long messages and stuff like that, and you guys are getting timed out every second. So you think, I'm gonna see this reaction? But honestly, I think they're pretty cute too, so I like them too, but...
What?
What? No, I can't believe you just used the word to describe it. Cove had been absolutely scandalized by your statement, and you could only laugh. When he said nothing else, you took a moment to gather your own thoughts.
What?
Gotta be bored. I like them too. Cove smiled at you, happy to hear he wasn't the only one who felt that way. When he said nothing else, you took a moment to gather your own thoughts. You gotta get an anklet as soon as possible. Maybe you wear your anklet more now. Maybe you wouldn't wear your anklet so often. You thought about buying an anklet for your own. You were happy to hear more about Cove. You didn't change anything. I've worn like bracelets on my or anklets or whatever. No. I own them. I'm not gonna buy them. I'm gonna wear them more often. I'm not gonna buy another one if I already have one. Or at least one that I like. That seems inconvenient. You were 3 dimensions ahead. Exactly. Just because I don't really wear that much necklaces, bracelets, anklets, whatever, doesn't mean I don't own them. You got a couple of different ones at home. With this new knowledge, you might slip them into your daily routine in the future. Cove looked away again, feeling awkward about this. You gave him an astounding look, and soon enough he was smiling like normal again. Well, now you have to answer too. What do you like for another person? Muscles, no. Pretty hair, glasses, blue eyes. Muscles? No, not really. Honestly, there's like... on the spectrum, there's a bit that I like, but I don't like too muscular, and that's pretty soon. It's like, no. Glasses? I feel indifference about them, and blue eyes, that's like very specific. I want to know his reactions, but I'm going with pretty hair, because pretty hair is cute. Cove chuckled and thought you had some highly amusing. Good luck, I hope you find someone. Pretty hair, yeah. Wait, is that one again? It's all the same! With that, the topic abruptly dropped off. Cove officially had no more to say on it. Because it's all about him. He doesn't wear glasses! Right? I just saw him, hold up. He did wear his glasses then. Wait, I remember from the first clip he wore glasses. Wait, in like childhood he wore glasses. Has he switched to like contacts? Contacts. Whatever the freak you want to call them. I completely forgot my dude is wearing glasses. Okay, yeah. That's something I'm gonna do next time I play him, because right now I want to let the game decide how I have formed him, and up until now I really like the personality they gave him. I honestly don't know which personality, but that's fine. The parents all arrived soon after, each of them climbing into the RV and finding some place to sit down and rest their legs. Oh yeah, by the way, about what you missed me searching up, for instance, when they started driving in the RV and Elizabeth was just lying on the loft here, I was like, that's illegal. That's very illegal. So I did a Google search in the Netherlands, or well, in Europe. Most places in Europe, I don't know exactly where, but at least in the Netherlands. If you are driving in like in a camper, you must wear a seatbelt, no matter the age or no matter where you are. And then I went to the US to Google it there. Every state has a different rule. One is like only front seat passengers. Other ones have like under the age of like 14, 15, 30, 12. And the front seat must be wearing seat belts. Other ones have like only... everyone needs to wear seat belts. I could not travel through the... Yeah, it's very important stuff, okay? Why wouldn't I want to know the rules? It's really important, okay? I just imagined having to slam on the brakes, and it's already uncomfortable in a car that's not going that fast. imagine just getting thrown off the loft because the brakes were hit too hard or you got into an accident. You would get hurt so bad. These are like my thoughts when I play games, you know. Elizabeth, having heard the commotion, came out of the room for the first time since arriving and joining you all. Pijn is fijn and bloed is goed. I know that's like a family motto of ours, but no. I'm gonna quickly translate it so people don't have to do it if they don't speak Dutch. Pain is fine and blood is good. I think that's roughly the translation. But like, no. We spent the evening chatting and playing a few games, enjoying the last evening of the trip together. Pain is nice and blood is good. Yeah, something around. Bedtime arrived within a blink of an eye. As the group hunkered down for the night, your mom did a final round to be sure nothing had been left behind. She explained that Cliff was going to start driving early in the morning, like on the first day, but would be letting everyone else in the group sleep. There wouldn't be a needing for all of them to get up. Now was the time to check you hadn't left anything outside. You, as well as everyone else, were confident you had it all packed up inside the RV, which meant it was time to get some rest before the journey home tomorrow. Your mom and Elizabeth said goodnight, heading to the back room, while you climbed up to the loft. So I'm gonna be the one launched from the loft if we hit the brakes too hard or get into an accident. Good to know. Cove and his family got situated below in the previous set arrangement. You tried to get comfortable as a million thoughts were running through your mind. It was hard to believe that the trip was practically over, and before you knew it, you'd be back in your own bed at home. You enjoyed this mini adventure. The trip had been okay, the trip was a waste of time, you hadn't. It was great. It was a good adventure. Cute moment almost here. Ooh. I think. Yeah, maybe. Because didn't you say... Oh no, wait, it was about the anklet, right? That you had to have a crush level and wearing anklets to have a reaction or something. Yeah. I don't know if this one has anything. We will see. It was short, and that was for sure. But you got to see and do so much during your time here. All in all, it was a nice break away from home. The minutes ticked by silently. It didn't take long for the soft snore of Cliff and Kara to drift up to you. They were asleep now. I really like this part. You wondered if Cove was still awake and decided to poke your head out of the loft to find out. You blinked through the dark. Looking down the hall, you noticed Cove lying on his back, his eyes staring straight up at the ceiling. His seafoam hair was spread out on his sleeping bag. He must have felt you watching, because suddenly his eyes locked on yours. It was difficult to see much in the dim light, but you could make out the crooked smile on his face well enough. I would wave, but also grin back. That's my problem here. I'm trying to go with like, what would I do? But most of the time I would either do nothing or do none of the options, or like combine them. I'm gonna no grin back, but we're gonna go with wave at him. Shook this bell, sleeping, at least you thought he did. We're gonna wave. Go right back, still smiling. Through you to the dim... yeah, I'm waving. Wave back, still smiling at you through a dim light. Yeah, I think I know which cute moment you meant. What if I just chose another option? But what if I didn't choose that one, huh? Come join us. Okay. Cove looked unsure about it, but you were happy to see him slowly start to sit up anyway. We aren't sacrificing lambs. Not yet. I do have a game about... No, wait. Cult of the Lamb is not about sacrificing lambs. Technically, the lamb you're playing is getting sacrificed, but that's not the point. His sleeping bag rustled as he moved, though he tried to go slow and froze up like a deer in headlights every time he made a sound, watching his parents for any sign of movements. The more you know. Eventually, he managed to maneuver around his sleeping dad and made it to the ladder, standing on the bottom rung, where he looked up at you and whispered, "What?" Look at the little rebel, the bad boy. Do you want to come up? His eyes widened. Just so. You could only... Wait. I'm gonna go with this route. Good night. Cuff shook his head in disbelief. But you could still see a hint of a smile peeking out, okay. It was nothing. Okay. The rest is like all... Yeah, okay. The rest is... The other ones are all like him shaking his head and going, "Oh, why am I friends with this person?" Do you want to come up? His eyes widened. Just so. You could only tell because he had to come to where you were. Some action invite him. Some action? They're like 13 years old. What do you mean? They're 13. Cove glanced back behind him quickly as his sleeping parents before turning back to you. Okay. I'm joking. Even then, if they weren't 13, it is like an open space and his parents are right on the floor. I think crush root. Yeah. You broke into a grin and second back as far as you could make. Scooted back as far as you could, making space for Cove to crawl in. He was very tall, so it wasn't a great fit for him, but he managed to squeeze himself in. Even if you weren't exactly tall, the love was still a tight squeeze with the two of you in there together. Oh, you look sleepy. Sleepy little boy. You had laid down next to each other on your sides, face to face. He got under the blanket a bit. Aw, heart. Yeah. One of his arms was nestled under his head for comfort. The other had nowhere to go and was rested alongside of his chest for the loft. Cove spoke to you softly. I love the art, but the art is great in this game. So what am I doing here? I thought we could hang out. Cove's eyebrows dipped. He had probably thought you had something more important than that going on. I don't know. Why are you here? No, I don't like any of the reactions. No. Yeah, let's go. Best time with friends. Yeah. You both thought you had something more important than that going on. It's a big deal for us to be both in the loft, right? Yeah, it's nothing some huge thing. We have shared a million times by now. And usually, they're the ones encouraging us. Cove gestured in the direction of the parents. Ian nodded in agreement. They had always tried to put you and Cove together ever since you were little. I wonder how much trouble we'll be in if we get caught. It wouldn't be nearly as much as we would have been in if my mom's found out you snuck into my room for the night at the start of the summer. Almost shipping, even the parents. It's most of the time the parents, though. If, like, the parents meet the children a lot, you see a lot that the parents start shipping the children. You weren't just imagining it. I still can't believe I did that, and didn't get caught. It was a very dramatic morning. You could easily picture his frantic escape in your mind's eyes. You're kind of a troublemaker, aren't you, Cove?
I mean...
No, I don't think so. Cove trailed off and he seemed to be lost in his own thoughts. Well, maybe sometimes. Cove smiled fondly at you, and you just grinned triumphantly. You spent the rest of the night smooshed up in the little loft together, whispering about your past memories and trying not to giggle too loud at the silly things you had gotten up to together over the years. Eventually the chatting trailed off, and when you noticed Cove had drifted off to sleep, you followed soon after. When you woke up the next morning, it was to the rumble of their V as it traveled the journey home. You noticed quickly that you weren't as warm as you had been during the night, and you checked next to you, Cove was gone. Is that what adorable? Was that the moment you wanted? Did you get what you wanted? Did that make you happy? Blinking sleepily, you peeked over the edge of the loft to find out where he'd gone. Maybe he had snuck back to his spot on the floor during the night? It's very little different. Okay. Obviously, yeah, obviously. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do next time. Probably I'm gonna do Crush straight from the start, because I don't... The friend route I'm probably gonna play on my own. But my plan is to, like, wait a few months, maybe, to, like, replay the game when I've bought the DLCs. So maybe in the summer vacation. That could be a nice time. So when the summer holidays, vacations, whatever is around the corner, I will have the DLCs and I can play the game again and then just crush straight from the start. And then I will be making sure I tell you on time when I'm gonna stream. We can plan it in advance. Based on how many streams I've done now, we can like plan when I will be streaming and then you can watch. However, you soon noticed him sitting on the couch, talking quietly with his mom, his head hung in embarrassment. Ooh, we got caught. Your movement gave you away and Kara suddenly looked up and caught your eye. She simply smiled amusedly at you. And it was obvious what happened. Cove hadn't gotten away with it. They found him there in a loft, and then you woke up while he was trying to explain. You knew it was gonna be a long, long time before you lived this one down. If you ever did. We're never gonna. Soon your mums and Elizabeth emerged from their room, dressed and ready for the day of travel. You spend most of the day hanging out together in the RV. Yeah, okay, I said it right. Savoring the last few hours of vacation. Kiara suggested a few different travel games she used to play with Cove when he was younger, and you all had a great time competing against each other. A little later in the day, you tried to talk to Cove about what happened in the loft, but he simply apologized and changed the subject. It was a bit too much for him to try speaking on. Especially right now, you understood. When the RV finally pulled onto your street, it was well into the night, and you were looking forward to crawling into your own bed, after the last few days anyway. Of course the shy boy did. Everyone else must have been feeling the same, because it was mutually agreed that unpacking and cleaning the RV would wait until the morning. Once home again, you went straight up to your room and dropped onto your bed, shoes and all. Oh no. You were happy to be in your own bed. It was weird to be alone. You missed being near Cove. I didn't even read the other options. The two of you had basically been living together for 3 days. It was nice. But you knew that it wouldn't be the last time you two would spend time together. And that thought comforted you. Yeah, okay, wait, is shoes on bed? Chrissy, don't tell me you do shoes on bed, right? No, please, come on. Please say no. No shoes on furniture. Come on. Okay. It sounded really sarcastic in my mind, okay? It did sound sarcastic for all like the crazy behind it, but okay. I'm sorry for accusing you of such a crime as shoes on furniture. With those last few thoughts drifting through your mind, it wasn't long before you dozed off to sleep. Tomorrow, life would go on like normal. And then we did all of them. They're nice. Save. Okay, and then we move on to the next. Oh god, wrong button. Look at all those DLCs I don't have. Oh, applause. Thank you, thank you. Bows down and accepts the applause. I don't have a camera, and neither do I have a character that like portrays how I move. I think that's a good thing, because I move a lot during streams. I have them all. Yeah, I'm just gonna steal yours now. No, to be honest, this game is good enough to pay for. Like, all of this is free. I will be paying for it. It's the kind of thing where it's like, I wanna more hours to my gameplay. No. By now, we're at 12 hours into the game in total. Dang, I need to get a life. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. Oh no. I have 40 hours, don't judge me. My dude, I mean, okay, I'm streaming, so I do go slower through games than like normal people would, so I kind of get it. Then again, I'm only at step 2, or just finished step 2, 60 hours, and I'm at 12 hours. There are like 4 steps, and I'm counting that the epilogue isn't that, oh no, wait, 5, right? You have... This is just getting more and more. Next time you're gonna say like, oh never mind, I got like 100. But you have like the childhood, the adolescence, teenager, adult, and then the epilogue. Or is the adulthood the epilogue? I don't remember. Hold up, I'm gonna Google it before I make wrong choices and that I most definitely am going to regret. Okay, hold up. No, wrong site. This is gonna crash my PC. Although this epilogue. Okay, so they're like, oh, then I should choose love or crush next stage, right? We're just gonna... Okay, that's honestly too relatable to me in real life. Why would I have a crush? I'm just gonna go straight to love. Why would I take the break in between? Don't trust my words. Okay, I will Google it. Dang it. I thought I could trust you. 8 stages of life. What can we learn from each one? Okay, like, apparently there are 8 stages of life. Infancy, toddlerhood, preschool years, early school years, adolescence, young adult. Beginning and always. No, just choose crush, wonk. You can choose again before the epilogue. Okay, I will be going with a wedding DLC for step 4. A wedding DLC for... I might just buy the wedding. Won't be as fun. But then it won't be as fun. Huh? Maybe like unimportant. Yeah, no, I guess that. Hold up. Your character going 3 life stages. Completely up to you. Including transition to new pronouns, gaining new hobbies, establishing preferences, etc. Okay. Yeah, that's what I expected. I opened the forbidden website on my computer. I should not have done that. I'm sorry if my stream went all wonky. I hope everything is back. There's like this one webpage. Okay, Oswald. Okay, great. There's the fandom wiki. I don't know why, but that's a website that if I open it on my PC, it takes so much out of my PC that it basically slows down my entire PC. So I cannot open any page on the fandom wiki without my whole PC just basically saying bye-bye. Your feelings are muddled. Yeah, that's relatable. Too many fandoms to comprehend. Yeah. My PC is just trying to load all the pages. I hope it wouldn't, because then it would most definitely crash. But I have like this little color thing on my second screen, on like my OBS, the recording program I have. And it has like 3 colors, I believe. Green means good, yellow means you're heading into trouble area with like the quality of your stream. Red means, oh no, what have you done? That's basically how those stages go in my head. And it immediately jumped from green to red when I opened Fandom Wiki. Okay. There were aspects of going to school. that you missed, and others you would happily live without, if only you could pick a mix between between bits of summer and school. Well, let's start over it again. I'm gonna be opening it on my phone, because for some reason my phone can handle it perfectly. Like, I made an account to, like, lower the amounts of ads I was getting, because I saw people complain about that on the fandom wiki, but my PC still just goes bye-bye. You got dressed, not envisioning the day before you, but contemplating what laid ahead of you tomorrow. I was going to be different. You had come to think of the summer vacation as the norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to normal. But what did your normal life really mean? Oh no, we're gonna have an entire... Oh no. I don't need an existential crisis right now. You considered how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that one year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. Blah blah, philosophy stuff, blah 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 blah. You gotten distracted, one arm still out of a sleeve. You put it through your mind back to the present. This season had brought about plenty of change on its own, like Kiara's visit. Though that too was coming to an end today. You were happy you'd finally gotten the chance to know her. You had become extremely fond of her. You didn't really like her, your mind was midway. I like her, she's a good character. The neighborhood was about to feel a lot emptier. You finished dressing, which was good. Kelf would be there any moment. You had agreed to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off, but you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kara's visit had troubled Cove when it first happened. It had been a sudden change thanks to Mr. Holland's infamous tendency to surprise people. But once he was able to adjust, he'd been in a pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. I need to drink something. I'm tasting blood in my mouth because I'm talking too much. Hold on. That does mean we're not gonna continue the next live stage for a long time. Don't die. I won't die. I've gotten used to this. But especially with games like this, where it's just mostly talking. Don't try to banish a demon out of me. I don't think that's healthy. It's not healthy, but... with games like these, with like a lot of talking, I can get my throat to hurt really easily. But I know my boundaries. I know when it's gonna stop. Or when I need to stop, not when it's gonna stop. You turn to your desk, where the box contains your accessories resided. A thought struck you like a bolt, and your eyes bored into the box. Should you wear an anklet for Cove's visit today? You had some nice ones, and you hadn't used in a while. You're just loving life. You just love living life on the edge. Of course! We're gonna put it on. You decided there were several. Like one on each leg or more. A wicked smile crept out your face as you endured anklet after anklet. There was no way Cope would miss it. People from the East Coast would be able to hear you jangling. I'm gonna wear one. That's a bit overkill. That's overkill. I'm not gonna do that. As you treaded the hoop through the clasp, you had wondered if Cove would spot what you've done, and how it wrecked if you did. A cheeky grin grew on your face. Now come on, no. Okay, we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors, no, wait, I got one better. I have a number between 1 and 5 in my head. And you choose, and you just have to trust me, you get one chance to choose a number between 1 and 5. If you win, we're gonna go with the multiple options for... It was 3. Sorry for you. You're not gonna convince me otherwise. You've lost. Like, did you do every anklet possible? You have to Billy Cup. Okay, fine. Fine. You convinced me with the friendly bullying part. The next thought that crossed your mind was... You went downstairs to wait. He can come to my room. He knows where I live. That's great. You made yourself comfortable in your bed. This was where you'd be hanging out. So... there wasn't much point in going downstairs just to come straight back up again. It won't be the first and probably won't be the last time that Cove brought himself to your room without you taking him there. A knock on the door broke you from the idle daydreaming that you've been having about endless summers. Laziest. No. You recognized the sound immediately, different from the cheery tune Maud rapped out when she wanted your attention, or Mom's direct beats. And Elizabeth tended to skip knocking completely. Oh, I would hate that, sister. If you don't knock and wait for an answer, I'm gonna be pissed if you enter my room, and I will not be nice about it. Those knocks were just hard enough to be heard, and had uncommonly long pauses in between them. They were Cove's. I don't even have a door. Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. Come in. Everyone just peeks their head. I would not survive in your room, to be honest. I would go and make my own... I would go and make an own door. Like, just build an entire wall of things and just make a door. Cove opened the door, smiling casually as he caught your eye.
Hey.
Yeah, true. I don't survive it. Just... He stepped further into the room. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cove had long passed the attentive stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar of him as his own. We barely know his room. Great. You watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair. His preferred spot, he rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from his spot anytime soon, even though he had an appointment to keep together that day. When is your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
We got some time. She still got a shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging out while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifted out through the window and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving, just when I'm getting used to her being here every day. He leaned back in the chair, and Ryo's smile tickled his cheek. She will be back. Yeah, I get it. He shook his head at the shaking of the topic like a dog wiping off water following a dip in the sea. Cove looked back to you, lips parted as he was about to speak, but instead his eyes widened and his mouth closed into a tiny frown. Something has caught his attention. Several somethings, to be accurate. He also wondered that he hadn't heard or spotted him sooner. He cast his eyes back to your face, then down to your ankle, and back to your face. He repeated that process once, twice more, as if struggling to hold the two items in tandem. Maybe he was waiting, whether this could be a coincidence or not. If so, you weren't sure how much clearer you had to be while still being able to lift your feet. Or maybe he was just too shy to verbalize his thoughts, or was still trying to find the words, and it was just the most he could manage. The tension made you feel, what did it? Bashful, amused, thrilled, regretful, pleased. I'm gonna search for one word, hold up. Bashful. Reluctant to draw attention to oneself. Shy. No, it didn't make me feel shy. Amused. It was hard not to laugh at Cove's trembled to response. You stifled your laughter with that hand clasped firmly around your mouth. Even so, you could feel the way the smile had lifted your face. On the next glance back to your face, Cove saw your expression had shifted. You watched as his bewilderment eroded into mortification as he realized that he'd been caught staring. I mean, it's not that bad to be like caught staring, because if someone has like an entire leg full of anklets, my eyes, I would also be confused. He quickly spun in the chair to face the wall instead, allowing you to glimpse the flush that had spread all the way to his ears. Yeah, but he's the shyest of all boys. Yeah, okay, of course. His embarrassment finally wore off enough for him to pipe up again. I know you're doing that on purpose, Drew. Are you trying to make fun of me? What do you mean? Sorry, it's not about you. You kept your mouth shut. What do you mean? You know, about what I said before on the road trip? What did you say before? Cove groaned, tilting his head up to the ceiling. He had not bought your act. Why did I ever tell you things? How does it look? You lifted your leg up and pointed it towards his chair, so he could get the best view. Cove just huffed in response. He jerked his face to the side. You waited patiently, not taking your eyes off him or lowering your foot until he gave in. Well? With a roll of the eye, he condoned.
It's nice.
I think it looks good. Cove probed an accusing finger in your direction. But you already knew that, because I told you. His comment drew a grin from you. He smiled back. The final shadows of his frantic initial reaction swept aside. Cove perched an elbow on the chair's arm and propped his jaw against the scrolled hand. It was an unnatural ease of his movement as from familiarity from the echoes of all the times before when he'd sat in the same position. This was a really nice summer. Totally, it was alright. I'm glad you got to spend so much time together. I've had better. I'm looking forward to the next. I'm glad we got to spend so much time together. Cove still nestled cozily in the chair, smiled at your response. How are your fish doing? Really good. Things in the tank are stable, and everyone looks healthy. That's nice to hear. You learned from Cove how hard it was to maintain an aquarium. Captain Cyan. Michael, wait, this is fun for you. I wanted to name the little fish Captain Surfboard, but the name was too long even when I shortened Captain. So I went with the first color I could think of that I like. So I named an orange fish Captain Cyan. Because it kind of gives me the same vibe as naming an animal after another animal. I should have named the fish Cat. Oh, that would have been so much better. Next round. Next round I'm naming the fish Cat, if I remember. Captain Cyan has been busy, keeping darting between the plans and out again when I walk by, like a game of peekaboo. Really creative, it's a name, huh? Hello, my character's name is True Hope. We're gonna decide on a new name next time, because True is really starting to confuse me in sentences, because I have confused my name as the word or the word as my name. Or Anna-Seek. Yeah. Cove idly glanced out of the window. It gave a resigned sigh. True Hope. Amazing. I legit just went on the internet, found random names, left at True and chose it, and Hope was the first surname I saw, so I also picked that. It's gonna be harder to surf, you know. With school, it's getting colder out. I don't want to get rusty. I don't know how I'm gonna go out on without surfing. I like surfing. I wish it liked me. I can't stick to the board. He gave a light smile coupled with a shrug as response. True, Cove. The sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cove's mom is ready to go. That laugh startled me. I legit got scared for a few seconds. That was really loud in my ears for no reason. If you're quick, she might keep the Mandarin motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubt that, but it was nice that Mom and Miss Preach had their strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you headed downstairs together. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like it was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tense leaving the house, and Cove rose altogether before you both crossed the street.
Oh.
The doors opened. That must have been taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave now. It's the last time you will ever see her. I know, but I got used to having her here. Yeah. It was hard to think of a world where you didn't have both your moms living at home with you, so you couldn't even imagine how hurt Cove must have been feeling knowing his mom was leaving. You thought you saw his bottom lip quiver just before he turned his head away from you. Can we hug him again? Please give me the hugging option. We don't have to head over if you don't want to. No, it would be worse if I miss her leaving. Okay. At that, some of the conflict warring on his face eased a bit. Together you went across the street and inside his house, finding his parents in the living room, surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey kids. Good timing, I just called a taxi.
Hi.
And hi, True. So glad I could see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I am fabulous. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. I love his parents. The parents are so great. She winked and Cove pouted on cue over the teasing. I'm really happy I got to meet you too. I hope you had a good time visiting. Bye. You didn't say anything in response. I'm really, really pretty. Yes, both parents are also really, really pretty. Which honestly, fair enough, because they also made a really pretty kid. I hope you had a good time visiting. I really did. Thank you. Nodding, Kiara turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Inwardly, Cove scrumped to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly.
I'm so glad.
And I'm so happy this trip was a success. Cliff looked a little like he was bursting with pride. Well, not a 100% success, but it was still passing grade, I think. Thinking back on everything that happened this summer, he started to look a little bit sheepishly. Cliff scratched the side of his head, and an awkward chuckle escaped Cove. There were ways it could have gone smoother. I still keep that in mind for the future.
All right.
Good for you, Cliff, and I'll be trying harder to stay more in the loop. You watched as Cove smiled softly at both of his parents, and you felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had come together since you first met them. Despite an underlying troubles, love was still there. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived. Rolling up in front of the house and in clear view of the open door, Kiara stood up, smiling sadly. Well, that's my right. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kiara as you all filed out of the door. Father and son went with Kiara's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street. And to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably and he waved as soon as you noticed him.
What's up?
Hey True, hey Cove. Derek, my boy. I have only seen him at the start. Maybe one other time, but I don't think so, because I believe you need to buy the DLC for him, right? so I don't really know him. When did you get there? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago, though I thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time. Sorry. Dirk could even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe.
Sorry.
Yeah, you'll see. You couldn't see him more. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. Derek came to hang out often, so it was inevitable that the two had met at some point this season. I think so too. It was apparent that Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but the reassurance words suited his worries. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help? Nah, don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kiara took one last look at everyone inside it. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling. But Kiara still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed all her attention on Cove. I will call when I get to the airport, and when I made it to Nevada. Also, you better call the moment you walk into the door at home. Otherwise, we'll be wondering all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
I can do that. And could you all call tomorrow too? I can tell you how school went. Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kiara put a hand on Cove's head, an affectionate ruffle his hair one last time. She didn't let go, only to move on to squeezing his cheeks in her hand instead. Mom!
Cove!
I love you so much, baby. He was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounding things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving. She took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close. And as it began to pull away, for a moment Cove looked up at his dad, and then wrapped an arm across his back.
Bye.
Aww. Bye, Mom. Bye. Travel safe. Kiara rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. My voice is leaving me. Before she was out of sight, she decided to call out with your family and hers. Wave goodbye. Watch quietly. I'll just call out. As you added your voice to the others, she watched Kiara's smile grow larger. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps into the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly. Deep in thought, you got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. It was a great vacation, huh? Yeah. Summer is not over until the second I fall asleep. No naps for you then. Can't risk you accidentally ending the summer a few hours too early for the rest of us. Chuckling, you shook your head amused. Cove walked back to the group, still genuinely happy. Dirk grinned at him welcomely, and everyone else here smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well?
Mark clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I will put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Dirk glanced between the two, his eyebrows furrowed. Is this something I could do? Her mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
How sweet.
That's very sweet, Dirk, but it's alright. It's not your job, technically. Your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a lot over her own joke. You watched Derek look away, discouraged.
okay.
It's okay, I don't mind. He was a little bashful about it. He wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it back down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have fun? Y'all can come back in an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement.
Sounds good.
Another stunning idea, Lani. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That sounded like a plan then. I don't want to cramp your style. I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later too. No reason you should be the old man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned a wavering but pleased smile.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate the invite. He looked over the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I can help too. With as many people as you're feeding, it's going to be a lot of food. Didn't you hear what we told Derek? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you in. Ma raised an eyebrow when Cliff waved it off.
Come on.
I insist. Derek would be missing out time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite the chef. Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged.
True.
An airtight argument. If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed to be more hyped than you expected him to be about helping with lunch. Cuff shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all us grown-up people will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos will be staying out? Maybe not all of them. Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment.
All right.
I'm going, okay, don't drown. I will stay with
That's
the kids.
fantastic.
That's great. But your mom smiled at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her facing. I would drown good. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just you teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face. So, what now? You silently wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Fair enough, to be honest. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Ko spoke up, after no one else did, to answer Elizabeth's question. Wanna go down to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me. Let's do it. If you guys want to... Okay, let's do it. You strolled across the road as a group, down to the beach, and then to the left. It took less than 50 minutes to arrive. One of the conveniences of Sunbed Bird. The four of you looked around at the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every stall with his eyes wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Cove were in good spirits as well. That's so cool! He ran over to a street magician who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed a middle-aged man his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Oh, who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Mrs. Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat, please? Flopsy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene.
Maybe
there's a buzz of the shopping street. No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just regular stores behind walls. It's different if someone wants a real store. But here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want and do whatever. That's so neat. would we be allowed to do something too? Cove laughed, and Derek almost began vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do? Well, I don't know what. Not yet. I mean, I just found out its possibility, you know? But there's gotta be something. We know cool stuff. I'm pretty sure we can think about it. We could plan a show that's really great. That really get the crowd pumped. I do not want to be part. You thought he could try this idea on his own. Bad idea start. I wonder if I could do some soccer tricks. Do you think that'd work? I don't know yet. With some amusement, the gang continued to pursue the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cove picked out a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought that it had to be Greenland. You know, this is a world with what looks like 9 continents. I think you're both wrong. It looks like Iceland to me.
I know.
Right? Suddenly Cove froze. You stared at him and then tried to see what caught his attention. When you saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Oh no, not Jeremy! Hi! You didn't drown, good job. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out like a neon green ball in the kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Oh no, Jeremy, exactly. The only time I have seen him was at the start. Oh, it's not that you're that small, it's just, you know, you never can be, you can never be too careful with things. Like toilets or showers or sinks. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street, and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Derek frowned and Cove sighed. Neither of them were happy to see him again. I'm gonna glare at him. You narrowed your eyes and projected your dislike. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy, without a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. I'm glad he's not gonna start anything. He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. See, that was the mean kid. Huh? She still didn't get it. The first summer day hadn't made nearly as much of an impression on her as it did for Derek. But he smiled and waved it off. Just forgot about him. I already have. He laughed and Cove smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. Oh yeah, I almost fought the kid. I don't know what your options were, but I was about to attack him and I got stopped. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with his parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. It hurts. You got to punch him? I tried and I got stopped. If I remember correctly. It's the last time though. Jeremy Pulu gonna be gone for good now. It's time for him to go back to wherever he's from. Yeah, guess you won't have to worry about that guy anymore. Derek kicked a little at a little rock in the road. It clattered forward and then rolled under a stall. But I wanted to. Same. But I still think it's kinda sad Jeremy turned out to be, well, like he is. It would have been nice to make another friend. Cove shook his head. He was clearly not broken up over what might have been. Why would I want to see him? Why would I want to see him again? Elizabeth rolled her eyes at the strange farewell to an old boy, not interested in the slightest. She clearly didn't understand his impact, and at this point she didn't want to understand. Good riddance. I am trying to cheer up Derek, okay? You couldn't help but wonder though. What would have happened if you had interacted with Jeremy more? Is that like an option in the DLCs? To see him more? Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. He's pitiful. Yeah, you see him more, but not a lot. It's still more than like one time. You and the group moved on from Stahl and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for anyone to return to joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. Oops, didn't mean to type use caps. Fair enough. I was in a Discord with my friends a while back, and I was like typing things in caps lock, and then one of my friends asked if they could join the voice call, and I was like, sure, but then like in caps, this it was like, they asked a normal question, and I like screamed back at them. The little trip had flown by, and lunch must have been waiting for you now. Derek bounced on the ball of his feet.
Okay.
Okay, hold up. And up again. Come on, guys. Let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving. Oh, if we have... I can wait. Phew, I've enough walking around. Homebound, here we go. Cove stretched one of his arms lazily. Let's go then. You look at him appraisingly. I'm gonna... Why would I not ask him? Hey, Cove. Yeah? Could you carry me back home?
What?
What? Cove's smile said he was amused, but the tilt of his eyebrow was full of disbelief. It's a special occasion. I think it's a special transportation makes sense for such a big day. Cove sighed and shook his head. Elizabeth and Derek became a chorus of laughter. Come on, Cove, it will be fun. Alright. Cove stepped over to you. He looked like he couldn't believe what he was doing. Your lips quirked into a large smile. Train the muscles. Oh yeah, thanks. He carefully crouched down in front of you so that you could climb on. It wasn't hard to hop on. He slipped his arms under your legs and did his best to lift you. It was wobbly, but he managed to stand up all the way. Elizabeth watched with a smirk on her face while Derek laughed even harder. It was fair to say that your antics were entertaining. You were glad Cove went with it. Cove carried you home, contentedly. Other than a few good-natured jokes at your expense, he didn't complain. He made it all the way back to your house without putting you down. Dang, strong boy. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got to the front door and held it open for everyone as you eat moisite inside. The three parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. You made it just in time.
Hey.
I hope you're hungry. When Cove had brought you inside, the parents couldn't help but notice the odd conveyance. Your mums weren't sure, Mr. Holden raised an eyebrow.
Everything okay?
Did you pull something through? I'm okay. Oh, Cove, you've gotten so strong.
Good kid.
And reliable too. What a guy. Cove rolled his eyes at the commentary. When started walking to your couch, he bent down and you let yourself plop back on the couch. Thanks for the lift. Cove exhaled loudly and shook out his arms. He seemed relieved that he made it. So, did everyone have a nice time out? He gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware have already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you and Derek took your seat to your left. Cove sat on your right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. It was fine. I had fun. Yeah, the bank heist went off without a hitch. Your joke got some chuckles going around the table. That's good in my book. Ah yes, that's be like be gay, do crime. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in the empty seat across from Cove. He smiled at you and all the other kids. Mom set down a platter full of water glasses on the table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't remember the last time we've had a group this big over for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down to the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure. Those close to the cups obligated and started offering waters around. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table. That's such a weird rule. Why wouldn't I be able to eat with my elbows on the table? Back in the olden days, they used to place tabletops on a log or a tree stump. If you put your elbow on the table, it would flip up. So that's how it became bad manners to put your elbows on the table. Wait, no, really? Inconsiderate. Just etiquette. Dinner etiquette evolved to keep people from fighting during meals. It's been long. This is my streams. Welcome to my streams. Buy your utensils, which people could invent a general lack of restraint. From from what I'm getting, free the elbows. Yes, understandable. Okay, I'm gonna continue real quick.
Now.
And you shouldn't slouch. I feel attacked. Hold up, I need to sit up straight. She pointed to Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Oops. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture to something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes, and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to guests in our house either. Jesus. So many rules to follow. Elizabeth groaned, long and long-suffering. Okay, Ma giggled, and Mr. Holden chuckled.
Not bad.
The lot of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He had the best manners here. Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners, on top of all his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of mule attendee behavior.
Aww.
It's nothing. It's true though. You have been a lovely guest. I've noticed that too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. Aww. That's adorable. And do you have anything good to say about our other guest? She looked deliberately at Cove with a teasing smirk. Or is there just nothing to say? Well, Cove is my number one. But he does still clean his hands by wiping them on his pants. Yeah, Derek's is the sweetest. Cove frowned at that and absent-mindedly pressed his hands on his pants like, your mom laughed lightly.
There.
Elizabeth, you should know, after all these years, Cove is hardly a guest anymore. Cove smiled awkwardly. Thanks. Manners. Who cares? I don't think it's a big deal. It chased Cove for his bad habit. This one. Me neither. Anyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out the afternoon. After the food, you had the others play a couple games and talked about your plans for the upcoming year. Manners. The time passed by quickly, and soon it was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms, and Cove drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finished it up, he would be leaving. It'll be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, could you move? I need the phone. Cove raised an eyebrow, and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was standing right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing a number of what you figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seems like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Cove. We gotta do this again sometimes. Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, True. Of course we're gonna hug. Oh, ruffle his hair. I wanna see his reaction, but we're gonna hug him goodbye. With affection, Cove laughed and then put his hand in your hair. He ruffled it back and you could feel it started to stick in weird ways. That's adorable! You stepped forward to spread your arms wide. Cove only had a moment to react before you encircled him in your arms. Cove hugged you back tightly as his chest rumbled as he laughed.
Dude.
Seriously, dude, we will have to like hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school. Oh, that's a freaking cute. He offered Cove a high five, and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house, and Elizabeth was still chatting to her friends on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. You decided to keep your guest company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked the ground distractedly.
Well...
That's still gonna be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was quite a stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek had always something he would chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Oh my god, oh my god. Derek moment incoming, okay. Oh, whoa. I didn't notice that I clicked space and I got kind of shocked that his face changed. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. But there wasn't anything that really felt happy in expression. He turned away and then smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. Yeah, if you want to talk about something, I'm here. I'm a little sad. It's just with school starting back up, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework and clubs and practices and everything else.
Sucks.
It really sucks you go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were close, tightly together. This was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? We're gonna be optimistic. We will make time. We can talk over the phone and have plans for weekends. It will be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high, with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was harder to read his expression. Hey, True, I actually want to talk to you about something if you don't mind. And I also paused and you waited for him to finish his thoughts.
Sorry.
I was just wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if it's weird to ask. This feels bad. Maybe. Let's go with maybe, okay? Maybe. Okay, then he hesitated before finishing his question. So what I mean is, no matter what you say, it's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, no, I knew that, but alright, with these kind of questions, I go with like, what's something I could say? Is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like around here? Not at school or anything like that? You ducked his head further. You thought about it. I like you. I like Cove. Mr. Holden. I think a lot of guys I think are cool. I think it's sad because it's quite obvious he has a crush. But I don't know his character. Oi. Watch your language in my chat. Gonna allow it, but watch your language. Hey, I permitted the word DILF, but don't spam it. Don't use it too often or I will just remove it from the permitted term. I'm gonna go with I like Cove. Derek raised an eyebrow. He didn't look at all convinced. I can't tell whenever you're kidding around or being serious. I really didn't think you with Cove. Derek started to mumble to himself, sounding very confused. Maybe they didn't really get my question. So Derek pulled himself together. He can't just bullshit. Yes, he did. Derek pulled himself together, somewhat meekly, and looked at you. Well, he tried to project confidence. It was too tight for you to believe. He was so nervous.
All right.
You know, thinking ahead and everything is important. You gotta get yourself a game plan and all that. It's good to make plans, especially backup plans. He babbled, full of energy and forced gusto. Anyway, I heard about this thing where people make pacts with their good friends that if they don't find anyone else, they will get together. together. Like they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, it might be cool if we did something like that. His eyes widened and he started to make frantic hand gestures. Come on, I know he's sweet. But at the moment I'm playing this game for Cove, okay? I don't know him. This is like the second time I have seen him, maybe the third. I think the second. I honestly think I've only seen him at the beginning. Just, you know, and then we never have to worry about the future for finding someone. But whether he can go on... Yeah, also fair. We can set it like a whole decade in the future, forever from now. We have to graduate high school and probably college too. We have jobs and be really grown up. I mean, we'll probably have our own places and maybe our own pets and student loans. Yes. All the things that come with adulthood. Are owning our own places, maybe some pets, cars, student loans. Derek babbled on for a while more. It was as if all the words he held in silence during the walk had burst out now all at once. So yeah, what do you think? I don't think it would work. Do you like me? I will accept the deal. I wouldn't mind ending up with you.
Really?
Oh, same here. Derek brightened significantly and started to bounce excitedly on the ball of his feet. Okay then, let's do it. Oh! He held out his hand, offering a shake. Officially, he repeated the terms of the deal. If in 10 years, I, Derek Zoraris, am still single, and if in 10 years you, True Hope, are still single, we both agree that the two of us will get together. He shook his hand and shook it firmly as Derek beamed.
It's a deal.
Thanks. I will feel better about the future already. I guess it's working out. Aww. He laughed and scratched the back of his head. You could tell he was giggly about this, and you felt happy too. You didn't spend much time at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. Derek stepped forward, seemed lighter than before. Oh, he's adorable. After Derek went back home, you decided to settle in for the night. Stretching your arms over your head, you noticed that the living room and the phone were free. Personally, I would not call my cousin. On the other hand, this is not me. He picked up the receiver and quickly punched in the familiar number while going to take a seat on the couch. Soon enough, after explaining the situation to the housekeeper, Lee answered. Hey! But I am doing it. Hey Lee, can you talk? Definitely, we practically have to. My gosh, can you believe it's almost time for school to start? What happened to our summer? School starts first thing tomorrow for me.
Boo.
Ooh. And I thought starting next week was bad enough. Enjoy your last week? Oh, I will. I hope you will survive your first day. I think it will be okay. School isn't too bad. That's true. Maybe it will end up being a really good year. And at least summer was nice while it lasted. We were busy. Yeah. Fondly you thought about all the best memories you made this summer. Lee was there for some, but there were still many you hadn't filled her in on yet. We're gonna talk about our summer. We're important. You get to speak about the road trip. I'm on a vacation. Co's parents ended up inviting my whole family on the RV road trip.
Really?
Whoa, that's awesome. There was a 3-day trip, and we visited Redwood National Forest. Lucky. The park was snow. Look. This is like the park is great. Fun hanging out. Really like that guy. That's fun. These would be the details I would be interested in. Like the stupid stuff you did.
What?
Yeah, this is a spill the tea session, exactly. Cope did what? Wait, start at the beginning. It took a while until you stopped laughing from Lee's reaction, long enough to tell her every detail of the story. She excitedly squealed more than once. I can't believe you've been holding out on me with such a juicy story. See a tea spill session. Nothing really happened. Pff, keep telling yourself that. You have to keep me updated on what happened next. She knows. It was hard to focus on what she was saying. Your face was probably red right now, just thinking about what happened. We're gonna talk about the rest. Trip. There was this day that Mom and Ma took me and Elizabeth on a big supply shopping trip. What made that so memorable? Lee chuckled, but you could hear the curiosity in her voice. I went surfing with Cove later. Yeah. Ooh, lucky. Was he a good teacher? Yeah. We're gonna talk about more. One night, Co's parents invited me over for dinner at their house for the first time. Mr. Holden made Mexican food. Ooh, Mexican. Got to name one of Cove's pet fish. I told Cove that is... Okay. It's not those two. Yeah, we're gonna keep spelling the T, why not? I think having kept it a secret from Cove, it should have been a secret for everyone. He paid you to be friends with Cove. Sorry for not saying anything. Back when they moved in, I met Mr. Holden first and he asked me to be Cove's friend. He said he'd give me $20 to do it. I wanted to tell Cove, but it was hard. Oh, totally. That's awkward and dramatic. It really was. It's good that you finally told him about it. I'm glad it's not a secret anymore. And the hot afternoon. I remember the hottest day in summer. I could barely do anything and had to stay inside the entire afternoon. I learned more about my moms though. My parents really embarrassed me the whole time. Cove was so hot at his house he bumped around mine all day. I did not accept the money. Cove come over and we make tic-tac-toe with Cove. Were you good? Yeah, very. Someone else, you wanted to focus on your cousin now. What was your big highlight of the summer, Lee? Talking to you is always the best part of my summer. Did you take the money at the start of the game, by the way? Even though it was a phone call, you insisted you just knew that Lee was winking at you. Come on, tell me. Oh, good, I'm glad you picked the right answer. That had Lee laughing hard for a few moments. Alright, okay, so a high point for me was when I took that trip with my parents to Europe. That was amazing. I ate different routes. So one time I did. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I can understand that one. I'm getting so many emails. Hold up. Emails, messages. It wasn't that bad. No, I don't think anything you read... at the start, I read the whole walkthrough. No, not walkthrough, what's it called? The, I legit forgot the name. I don't remember it, but I read like the whole starting thing with like all the information, and it legit said that there wasn't a bad ending. So basically anything you do, it cannot ruin your game. You only continued to go over your adventures until you both were yawning to each other over the phone. At that you decided it was time to say goodbye for now. You did have school to wake up for in the morning. Ugh, don't remind me. Bye, Lee.
Bye.
Night, True. Talk to you later. You left the phone on the side table for now. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed. So you would be so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your leg out on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You arranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out of the window. Initially, you spotted a figure out in the hills. It was Cove. When the surprise faded, you realized it wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. We're gonna run off to see him, yes. Sprinting, you reached the door in record time. You didn't think you'd ever see Cove again that day. You had to go to him. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through to reach the top of the hill. Cove turns towards you as you approached, and you noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Aw, hey. And you had to bounce in your step. You weren't sure how long you'd get before your mom's roped you back inside for bed. Hey, what are you doing out here?
Nothing.
Nothing, not really. He shrugged, seemingly unhappy with his own answer. You stared right at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. I'm gonna nod, this time. His mouth pulled into a bent smile. Cove let himself fall back on his butt and then all the way down. So he was laying on his back. He looked up at the sky. We're gonna lay next to it. You sat on his chest, excuse me? I was like, oh, sitting down in the grass and standing there is boring, so we're gonna lay down next to him, near him. We can sit on his chest. He made himself a pretty available seat when the way he was laid out. You plopped yourself square in the middle of his torso. Oh, true. Yeah, you cannot type, I know. He jolted in surprise, though couldn't get far with you on top of him. He plopped right back into the grass. Without help, he just gave up on being shocked. Fine. He snickered in a self-satisfied way. He had been lost in thoughts, or possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but he started speaking unprompted again. Thanks for telling me about my dad, and the money he offered you to be my friend. This was probably the last thing you were expecting out of him. Cove seemed to pick up on that and stretch his arm out wide in front of him.
I mean...
This was where we met, remember? It happened that day. Ooh. You could recall the sad little boy with a pink cast who found in the very spot. It felt like a lifetime ago. I kind of have a strange feeling looking at you. Not in a bad way, just thinking about you then and really seeing you now, it's something. It's almost unbelievable. How much an impact he made on your life. Just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in a world where you hadn't met him. Cove glanced back at you, waiting for a response, and you had no idea what to say. Cove just stared at you unblinkingly. What? It's you. Huh? He snickered before answering. You looked thoroughly amused with your reaction. That's what you do all the time, so I'm being you. So do you, Cove. You do that all the time too. You were stunned when you noticed enough to take notes of it, but I don't do it that much. I'm gonna accept it. Cove smiled, pleased at you. Honestly, there wasn't many people you could think of who could tease you about something like that. Returning his smile, you realized there was no denying that you two of you had been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before it could fully settle.
See you tomorrow.
Hey, I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, see you 10. With a final wave, Cove headed for home. But you stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to his simple statement. See you tomorrow. No matter how much was changing around you, there were some things in your life that always seems to remain true. Yeah, true. The hills felt warm that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable on the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with the thoughts about the future. You felt excited. There was little doubt in your mind that things were moving forward, and you couldn't wait to find out what changes were waiting for you on the horizon. Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you could make the most of it. You were ensnared in a dream when a noise from the outside world joisted at you. Noises happen, you tried getting it. Nope, we're gonna snap more. That's something I would do. The light clouded continued. Now that you were more alert, you could distinguish it as tapping sounds, quiet, slow, and persistent. Each beat was like being poked. You couldn't ignore it. You lift your head from the pillow and looked for the source. And no, don't say it's outside the window again. My dude, come on. Not much work was needed to puzzle it out. It was from the window. With that, you knew exactly what it was. From the color of the light filtering into your room, it was too early for anyone to be awake, including the sun. It had barely hauled itself over the horizon, but that didn't stop some people, it seemed. You sat up in bed and opened the window wide. Cold air, not yet warmed by the day, tickled your face as it pushed into your room. And just as you expected, there was your neighbor crouching on your windowsill. He was fully dressed, though not for school. He was wearing a wetsuit and a fun smile. Yes, we're gonna surf. Hi, True. You stared back, blinking. So technically, we won't be back to school for a few more hours. His voice was delicate, yet deliberate. Each word a careful explanation. Classes haven't exactly started yet, so do you want to hit the beach with me one more time this summer? You're crazy. Cove, you're so cute! His smile widened affectionately. You rushed to get changed in something suitable while Cove climbed back down to the ground level. Your limbs, still half asleep, struggled somewhat as you attempted to coordinate them into a swimsuit, but you got there in the end. Soon you were tiptoed out of the front door, cluttering a towel. Cove was already there to greet you. Your eyes met. Cove's gaze darted to your destination and back to you. You checked the door was closed, gave him a thumbs up, and the two of you leaped into action. Wordlessly, you began to run down the familiar path ahead. Cove beside you. This is such a sweet game. The thrill of your
self-voicing enabled. The thrill of your illicit self-voicing disabled.
Illicit outing made you want to laugh. Not that you dared if anyone in the family looked out and saw you, and then your summer would be back to being over. No one noticed. That was totally my voice reading it out loud. I just had to, reread it. One glance at Cove told you that he was exactly the same, holding back snickers for fear of being heard and caught. The towel streamed out of from under your arm like a cape. You were running so fast downhill that simply keeping your balance and not tumbling down was a real threat. Maybe drink some water. Your voice sounded a little hoarse. Sure, I will drink some. Hold up. So, does it sound better? I had to. I wanted to press the button again, but I will just continue reading. It just wasn't enough for of one to make you slow your pace. For every step you took, the beach was a little closer, and the day a little brighter. With that, what laid ahead of you would arrive, and you were happy to meet it. That's so sweet. Ah, in between. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, we're gonna change the name, I guess. Should we change the name? I kind of got attached to the name again, even if it's slightly annoying. I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, just keep it. I've gotten attached to it. Scars, freckles, pants, dresses, skirts. No. Ring. Jewel. Jewels, pattern, plain, non-plain. Can do a different one. Yeah, next time I will do a different one. Ooh. I like the amount of colors they have. It's just like the hair colors, I believe. That's neat. There's a lot of options. What's the last one? Oh, that's just white. Nail length, short, long, short. No color. Can I do rainbow? Okay, fine. We'll go with blue. Yes, let's do a nose ring. That's so me. No, we're not doing a nose ring. Okay. We're gonna save. And I will continue next stream because I am losing my voice. It's getting very late and I need to study for a test tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time. Bye-bye. Wait, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong quit button. I need to press the stop streaming. Bye-bye.